Hello, everyone, and welcome to another fabulous Tuesday where Steven continues running into a wall. And,
yeah, it's a great time. It's
enjoying himself.
One of my favorite things in all of games, truly. Also, I don't know if the audio is going to be delayed or not.
Like, does our voice line up with our mouth when we're speaking?
I can't stand it because it doesn't make any sense. And like even now, I'm watching it in real time, starting to correct itself.
Yeah.
So, welcome to live streaming.
So why?
It's a hard job.
Tell me this.
It's a hard gig.
Everything
changes all the time.
The feed is live.
Yeah.
Why is it that it only catches up to itself once we're actually not on the pre-stream?
I don't know. It's magic, man. Like it's black magic.
Actually,
it is a black magic device.
You know what I think?
Maybe that's why they call themselves black magic.
I have a new speculation. It has to be something about transitioning from the feed, like the first source, and then we transition to the second one. And
it doesn't with the genius, everybody.
It doesn't know what to do with the delay, the gap. It's catching up to the gap, right? It's got to be that.
Yeah, it's got to be catching up to the gap. So somehow it's processing information faster over time.
Well, it's like, because in my mind, it's like, well, we go live, and maybe it's just like has to fix itself. Mm-hmm. But we're already live.
Well, the weirder part is that just looking at, we're not even broadcasting the thing we're looking at, but that thing is behind for about 20 seconds until it catches up.
And that's what the first time we're seeing that feed, though, is after you hit the button, right?
Yeah.
So, like, for whatever reason, it's catching up to itself.
So whatever reason is what I'm focused on.
X equals...
I'm going to take the brightness down a little bit. I thought it was a little bright yesterday, too. So can you give the people what we're going to be doing today?
All right, here, it's like the index at the beginning of a book. Is that what that's called? Table of contents?
Yeah, table of contents.
All right, so here's what's going to happen. Steven is going to show off and demonstrate an updated version of at least Bolton, maybe Dorinthia, that he's been working on. It's a crazy Bolton, that's what we're calling him.
That's not really what we're here for, though, is it?
And then I'm going to explain why Viserai is awesome. And then Steven is going to play his newfangled deck against Viserai, all the while
and lose,
complaining about the fact that Viserai's cards are better and Arcane Barrier shouldn't be in the game. And
I won't even touch Arcane Barrier. You know why? I was talking to Will this morning. I don't think I've ever won a game against a Runeblade where I pitched for Arcane Barrier.
Ditch it, man.
I don't think it never made a difference.
May as well say unblockable damage.
I mean, Chain, what do you really want to run your normal run there? Briar, This is the most compelling, but even he's not running anything worth blocking. I mean, what, meet and greet sometimes?
Rattlebone's pretty good.
No one's is doing, well, it's not blocking Rattlebones, though. It's block all arcane damage possible in a turn in case they have Rattlebones.
Yeah.
Which is also not sustainable.
Like I said, this is going to be a lot of hot takes.
This class is a mess. I hate this class.
I got some hot takes.
I can't stand it. It's like you take numbers, split them between two damage sources, increase them by 3, and then just let them run wild. I don't understand it. It's like, okay, here. Yeah, I was thinking about this in the shower this morning.
Okay. It started early.
Okay. So, let me lay things out for you, starting with Welcome to Wraith. As a framework of the game. Okay?
I'm here for the ride, man.
We're going to start with the reality of what these classes are doing. So let's
Some of them are winning. Some of them are not.
Which is natural in game, of course. There's variations. But let's start with Ninja. The original. The older brother of the much more successful younger siblings. Ninja, the idea of Ninja, correct me if I'm wrong, is that I'm going to play sequences of cards, and if you don't block those sequences, they're going to get worse and worse for you with each new card that's added to the sequence.
And this is clearly shown in the combo keyword that is currently only in Ninja.
It's there.
And it represents, you'd look at something like Surging Strike into Whelming Gust Wave.
Yeah, it's great.
So the first is just a solid attack with Go Again. The second, if you play the solid attack with Go Again, is a little bit better. And then because the class centerpiece called the Mask of Momentum
defines the class, right?
If the third thing after that, like if let's say Surgeon hits, 5 come at me. All right, cool.
Yeah, no big deal.
Who cares? You don't block that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Katsu has his ability, can trigger. So now you can go get the next piece. That's what they do. Then he plays Whelming. It's like you don't block that, he's going to draw a card. It's like, I have really in hand. I don't want to block. Third thing comes in, now Mask is on. So you have different layers of triggers, right?
Yeah.
And I think, hypothetically, the longer their chain gets, the worse it should be for you, especially if you just left it unfettered.
Yeah, they even have weird cards that play like Salt the Wound that nobody plays, which is like +1, I think, for everything on the combat chain.
And something about 1,000 wins or eternal wins.
Yeah, eternal 1,000 eternal wins. So anyway, so this is the ninja idea, right? So we have combo, and if you don't block us, it's going to continually get worse because we're going to keep getting compounding triggers that are adding cards to our hand to make more compounding triggers, to make more combos, to make your life miserable. So that makes sense, right?
By the way, addendum to the table of contents, we're going to start out by breaking down the Runeblade class and then talking about why Viserai is awesome.
We haven't got to Runeblade. We didn't even get there.
We're going to. Then talking about how Warrior is supposed to even try to play this game. Meantime, I'm going to be definitely Runeblade advocate here.
Second, Brute. Let's talk about Brute. Okay. Intimidate the keyword.
This is like a masterclass.
I can do it quickly. Intimidate's the keyword. Number of cards that get better if you don't block with 2 or more cards. Barraging Beatdown. All of those weird discard attacks.
A lot of 6s somehow.
A lot of 6s, which is fine. They're not actually efficient in terms of like card for card. Well, they're pretty efficient card for card, not hand for hand. But you're looking at like things you never see in the game, right? When you play against Brute, it's stuff that like if you don't block with 2 or more cards, you guys go again. If you don't block with 2 or more cards, this happens. Barraging Beatdown. If you don't block with 2 or more cards, it gets +4, +3, +2. Onward and onward, making it more difficult for you to block with Intimidate. Not necessarily taking your whole hand away. You can do that sometimes. But making it more awkward to stack your correct blocking sequence because, the card I wanted to block with is now intimidated, so I've got to make a decision. Do I give them more damage and these effects, or do I go ahead and make my turn worse? Classic exchange. We look at Dory, we got Dawnblade. If you don't block that, it's going to get stronger, not this turn, but next turn, and then even stronger after that, and even stronger. So it's a giant.
On and on.
It's a giant kind of building hill, yeah.
So whereas Ninja's turns escalate,
right.
Warriors turn by turn escalates.
The Dawnblade should have that long game of value. And then you have, who's the other one in Welcome Wraith? I can't remember. Oh, Guardian.
Bravo.
So Bravo is actually an interesting pivot on that because all 3 of those classes have very compelling, if you don't block me, things are going to go bad things. Bravo has that too. If you don't block this Crippling Crush, if you don't block this, Cull the Weak or whatever that card is that nobody plays, I have a disruptive effect that is going to make your offense worse. It doesn't make my offense better. It makes your offense worse. It's the first hero that was doing that effectively.
Disabling effect.
Disabling effects, right? And then pairs that with Dominate for big moments where you simply cannot defend.
And he also doesn't have a curve in turn or turn to turn that escalates.
Right.
His weapon doesn't get more powerful. His turns are really, especially early on, capped. Because
he does have those weird auras, so technically he can carry some value from turn to turn, but you're right.
It's a slower, more prodding, more controlled effort. And in exchange, too, I think he has a very powerful weapon access. I note this from the first set that is just routinely very strong.
Yeah.
But never, can't get out of control like Dawnblade. Not as annoying as the Kodachis, right?
Yeah. And on par with Club, but similar. So if you look at it, just conceive, from a concept view, Ninja's now turn gets stronger by playing a lot of cards in a row. Brute's now turn gets stronger by you not blocking with a lot of cards. Dawnblade's long game gets better, but the current turn doesn't necessarily get better. But those 3 classes are all about if you don't deal with me, my offense gets better. Bravo says if you don't deal with me, your offense gets worse, which is very much a different situation. Then we get into Arcane Rising. And then we have Ranger. Then we have Wizard. If you don't block Wizard's arcane damage, Blazing Aether gets really good. And so there are cards that say, depending on the amount of arcane damage you've taken this turn, my offense gets better over the course of the turn.
Yeah.
So Wizard is similar to almost like Katsu in that way, in that as you're not blocking arcane damage, the cards I'm playing are progressively higher and higher octane. Makes sense, right? Arcane Bearer, fine. We can have that conversation later. But you got to block the early arcane damage or the late arcane damage gets
that's the risk.
That's the problem.
Then also another risky run
yeah,
is that if you play out your entire hand, you create a moment where they can penalize you for having no cards in hand, even on your own turn.
Yeah, which is a thing. But as far as their offense is concerned, that threat is still linked to the fact that, yes, now you can't block my arcane damage, which means it gets better and better over time.
Yeah, but just in terms of their offense creates this weird interplay of unlike anyone else. Like when I'm playing against Warrior,
Wizard is weird.
I play out my hand, and I know I'm going to have a full hand to block you with.
Yeah.
So, carry on.
Wizard is strange. And then you have two very interesting classes on this framework to me. One is Dash, which on the face of the boost mechanic has no real hit effect threat, but is simply of its own deck construction able to chain out multiple attacks using the boost mechanic by building in class.
There's the one card, if it hits, your next attack is plus X. Yeah. That's a really common.
There's a couple of those like hit effects along the way, but like as far as their primary boosting mechanic, it has no input from your opponent whatsoever. Does not care.
Yeah.
So the original Dash aggro before kind of the pistol party came around, it's like play card, play card, play card, play card. But the downside was if your opponent could block effectively enough, you would run out of deck.
Yeah, you run out of cards.
So like, it's not that necessarily they have to block your hit effects, but it's like they have to block your crazy offense long enough so a long defensive game would favor the non-Dash player. Then you have Runeblade. And Zach's going to tell us what Runeblade came in to do. What did Runeblade bring to this framework of 7 heroes and how they're interacting with the offensive reality of Flesh and Blood?
Yeah, I think especially back in the early day, right, when Viserai first came out, I think their split is somewhere between Wizard and Warrior, and they have some amount of instant shenanigans. Like Wizard, they have some arcane damage, they have some armor, they have some. Their weapons are not. They weren't at the time on the same level like compared to Dawnblade. If you look at like Nebula Blade, it doesn't ever escalate in value. It just is what it is. But I think the main thing that they do, or Vis is one thing.
Yeah, tell me that. Tell me the Vis.
I think Vis's reality is he has overcosted, underpowered attacks that generate value that can be used later in the turn or in later turns. So he's creating the rune chance when he plays a non-attack into an attack. But if you look at something like a red Spellblade Assault, cost 2, 4 physical, creates 2 rune chance. So comparatively, you can pay 2 for Command and Conquer,
right?
Which is the gold standard of value for a 2-cost attack.
Yeah.
Does 6. If it hits, you also destroy an Arsenal card, maybe worth 9. So if you look at Spellblade Assault coming in, no go again, cost 2. 2 for 4 damage at this moment. It's not very powerful.
Not super compelling, huh?
Yeah. So he stores that value though in the form of rune chance because their cards even amplify the Arknight. 3 for 6, not a good exchange. But there's not. If it was just 3 for 6 blank, you would never see that card get played.
Yeah.
It's just not good enough.
Yeah.
But
we already have a 3/7/3 Raging Onslaught.
Yeah, and it never gets played.
Yeah.
So the yellow one,
Prism sometimes.
The yellow is pretty.
Yeah, you got the
but
tech,
the red one is not ever hitting the table. Like I haven't seen that thing in since
no.
long. And there are exceptions to all these things.
7,
but I think the fundamental economics and how they actually, if you look at all these things we're talking about, it's their offense. How to actually get damage in against your opponent. We're talking about Wizard. It's like, well, one way is they'll penalize you if you don't block the early stuff. Their late stuff is actually so much damage, you can't stop it. Ninja is if you don't block the early stuff, or if you don't block the right stuff, actually, and even if you do, they have reactions. So does Warrior to penalize you.
Yeah,
for that stuff.
Those two. That's another important point. Those two actually bring the reactions, so it's hard to predict where and how to block.
And Warrior has a lot of reactions.
Yeah.
Ninja has some, but even really, early on they were relying on like Razor Reflex, which is not a Ninja reaction. It just happens to be really good in Ninja.
And in-class breaking skills.
Yeah,
so
and they have like Ancestral Empowerment.
Yeah.
But like compared to Warrior, Warrior's like Route.
Yeah,
it's
all
0 for +3.
Yeah.
I mean, like just go down the list of reactions. Anyways, so I think when you're looking at how does Arcane Rising, Viserai, come to the party, even his sword is if you played a non-attack Nebula Blade is 2 for 4. That if you hit creates a rune chant.
Yeah.
So Bravo is technically 3 for 6 on his Xenothos every time, as long as you have this other condition of 2 3-costers in the pitch. But he's got a conditional 5 damage weapon. It's a double conditional. It's actually really weak if you don't have a non-attack to play. And then it's fine. 2 for 4 is fine if you hit. Pretty good. And no one wants to block that.
Yeah.
Realistically. But then those rune chants on things like Amplify the Arknight or like Rune Flash, another great example. 3 cost for 4 damage and go again. Mm-hmm. Not playable. That's not a good card. But he turns the 2 rune chance from Spellblade Assault into 2 resources later and 2 damage.
Yeah.
So realistically, a Spellblade Assault is actually potentially 2 for 8, right? Because it's 2 for 4 damage plus 2 damage from the Arcane Barrier plus, let's just say the 2 resources are worth 2 in value.
Sure.
Maybe that's a weird.
It's a weird way to do it, but it's fine.
But that's actually the weirdness of Runeblade.
Yeah.
At least the Viserai Runeblade. The other 2 Runeblades are different if we keep going down this train and talents and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but like I think the fundamental thing that we saw with Viserai was being able to carry value and reduce cost. The question on Consuming Volition around in those times? I'm trying to think. It was also, I think at the time,
it may have been Crucible.
The strongest, that's still okay for me. I think it's the strongest like easy access to discard effect that I remember too, aside from Pummel.
Bravo has it. There's very little discard.
Isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. You think like, a lot of discard. No, there's really not. So Viserai wasn't really built around whether or not your opponent blocks you. I think that's, and a lot of those Arcane Rising heroes were a little less slanted in that direction. Like even, Azalea has that dominate ability so that the blocking is kind of less of a choice. Mm-hmm. So like these effects are just kind of happening. But this definitely was like, it felt more like a deck that you're like magically stirring something up on your side of the table. And like sometimes it really works out and all of a sudden something big and marvelous happens. And sometimes it kind of falls apart.
And there are a lot of people that I played that weren't around in that time frame. So we got in like right after Arcane Rising is when we started playing. And we didn't touch. We were doing draft and sealed mostly up front. But one of the biggest issues at the time was because his cards are actually weaker at that point on a card-for-card basis, closing games was like very challenging with him. Mm-hmm. Because if you get in that state at the end of the games, the good games, both players are under 10, and you need to threaten lethal so that they have to block cards so they can threaten less back. That was always like very problematic.
Yeah,
like
those early days. Yeah,
that was always the pain point for me. I remember there was after Monarch came out, it was months of struggling. I would get Prism down to like 2 health. I would be at like 15 or 20 and just couldn't quite win.
Yeah, it's so crazy, isn't it? Yeah. All right, so if we just accept that framework of what's going on, so what do you think were the turning points? Because like right now, especially in Blitz, like Vis is obviously making a big impact, has a lot of real strong combo potential. But given that there's this idea that you generate rune chains, you carry value and you reduce costs of future cards, what do you think has happened in terms of the card design of Runeblade that has pushed Vis to a point to be like top tier? Because I remember our early Vis VX games, and it all felt kind of like samey, and sometimes you just were like, this hand is absolute potatoes, and I can do nothing with it.
Yep.
And then sometimes it was like, this was like unstoppable.
Yeah.
And you were throwing all this arcane damage around. So it seems like things have gotten more consistent, but how did we get here with Viserai?
From there, that was one of my earliest complaints about Vis was the inconsistency. I'd say that all the time to you. It's like, sometimes he feels like you're a god.
He was like Ferrari times and then like potato times.
Which I loved, right? Early on with Bravo, same thing. Like big turns that just turn the game on their head, I'm a big fan of. And when the game, I think a few things happened, right? So you have Chain and Briar, which are the 2 other Runeblades. And part of their issues were either their card themselves and or the cards they got with their talent. So what's the Seeds of Agony? Mm-hmm. For Chain as an example. But I won't go into all that. For Vis particularly, Crucible gave us Skeleton, which is a huge card. Mm-hmm. That lets him pivot on turns. He can play a 2-card hand very efficiently, whereas before that was always the struggle. You would get to that moment, and if you could only but block and also still come back at them, you would be in a good spot. So it was 2 armor and also a very, very powerful ability.
Can you dive into the 2-card hand thing with Vis and how Skeleton opened that up?
Yeah, so Spellblade Assault, let's say you played a non-attack, whatever, doesn't matter what it is, and then you played Spellblade Assault. Mm-hmm. So you create 3 rune chance, 2 from Spellblade Assault, 1 from Viserai. Put a card in Arsenal or not. Your opponent's going, maybe you block 2 cards. Let's say it blocks for 6 or whatever it ends up being. So at that point, you pop Skeleton. You're looking at -3/-3 to a non-attack and an attack. So for attacks that don't have the on-board -1 for every rune chant that you've got.
Yeah.
You also have things like Rattlebones that you can play for free, let you get an attack out of it. That's a 1-card hand.
Yeah.
So you crack Skeleton, play Rattlebones, get Amplify the Arcanite from your discard pile. Now you can play it for free. And if you had 3 rune chants, suddenly you're 6 physical, 3 arcane damage, and create a rune chant back.
That's so awesome.
Off of a 1-card hand.
It's so
right?
awesome.
So it's just the pivot card.
So
it lets you...
Skeleton opened up the real strong pivot and the recovery, it seems like, right? If you're getting pounded and then you can come back with that 1 card.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you're back in it, or maybe now you're threatening lethal and you can turn it around.
It's really just a classic pivot, right? And so early on, or when that first came out, that was a just very helpful tool for him to get. It's a 2 armor as well is relevant. If you're on the Skull Cap and the Grasp of the Arcanite, you've got 6 block on board at some point. Classic Command and Conquer counter without losing any cards. But yeah, the ability to Arsenal Rattlebones, and you could full block and still come back with a 9 damage turn off of a Rattlebones or more sometimes. Sometimes you had, maybe it was Mortar tied into Spellblade Assault, create 5. Pop, Rattlebones, 9th Blade from discard pile. So now you're actually coming in for like 14 damage off of 1 card.
Yeah.
Which is...
And that all was opened up from Skeleton, right?
Yeah.
I remember the early days on stream whenever you were testing a build with Tunic. I'll never forget. It was so funny. Zach would like tell me, he's like, before the stream, he's like, dude, how many people do you think are going to say I should be running Skeleton instead of Tunic while we're like testing this out? And then sure enough, everyone comes out. I was like, have you tried Skeleton? It's like, have you tried like was it Majestic or Legendary?
That's Majestic.
Have you tried the Majestic chess piece for your class? It's like, yeah, I'm just testing something else.
Yeah.
But it really opened up some lines. So like that was a big deal.
Totally. So Skeleton happened, and then the next set was Monarch, and a really critical piece here is Sonata. Just if you just play Sonata paying nothing, it's one, I think it's a very fair card, but it's also a very important card. The whole class wants to play non-attack actions and attack actions. A lot of the stuff is balanced. That's how Viserai creates rune chants. A lot of your stuff is better once you have done that for one reason or another. Even the sword, right? The old sword is like non-attack means it gets +3 attack on the Nebula Blade. Seems like pretty good value if you can play a non-attack into that, right? Old plays that I thought were pretty fun and good at the time is like Red Oath of the Arcanite. Creates a rune chant, it's a non-attack and gives +3. It can give +3 to the sword.
Oh, I love that.
So all of a sudden it's +3, get a rune chant, swing the sword. Coming in for 7, and if it hits, create another rune chant.
Yeah,
like
nice.
that was just like good value at the time, right? Anyway, so we got Sonata. I'm not sure if there's anything else there that really mattered, but that was a key card.
At that moment in Monarch, though, I think this is really relevant context here. At that moment in Monarch, this still with Skeleton Sonata, which we still like today is like the thing in Blitz, was not able to beat Chain.
I mean, I felt pretty good going into Vegas.
You were like close.
Looking back, I mean, maybe it would have been fine, and I had a decent tournament there. But like, I don't think if players were where they are today with that card pool, I think Chain is better.
Yeah, because Chain had seeds at that point too.
Yeah. The thing with that version of the deck though is that like Prism was a horrible matchup. Like.
I remember us banging our head against the wall trying to beat Prism.
Yeah, but it was the next set they would fix that problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious. Okay, so walk me through that. So
the next set, there's 2 really important cards in general.
Okay.
One is called Rosetta Thorn. So that's one of the best swords in the game. If you've played an attack and a non-attack, it's 2/2 on the attack. Also, I think it's important to note Crucible gave us Mauvrion Skies.
Yes.
So pre-Crucible, a lot of times to play an attack and a non-attack, that was the end of your turn.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
But that Mauvrion would become even more important. Not only is it go again, it's also a hit effect. It's also the non-attack, which lets Vis generate the rune chants. That's also what makes Viserai's ability to trigger Rosetta Thorn for 2 and 2 possible.
Yeah.
And that really helped him just in general be able to like Mauvrion plus the sword to be able to swing something at Prism and then swing the sword for 1 over at Aurora. But also it's a one cost sword swing that does 4 damage when you actually want to be doing damage. The problem with Nebula Blade is it costs 2 to swing. So you could downgrade to Reaping Blade, which kind of had the side you can't heal benefit.
Yeah.
And that's actually what I was on in Vegas because it's one cost. A lot of their best cards are cost 2. Rattlebones, Spellblade Assault, go on down the list.
You got to be able to blue 2 costs and swing the sword.
Even if you just like have a rune chant, then the ability to play like Amplify the Arknight for 2, like Mavrian Amplify for 2, pay 1 to swing the sword at the end of that chain.
Yeah.
Rosetta comes out, kind of fixes that problem. Is very good.
And it's a split 4 too, which I think is very relevant too. That Arcane all 2 happening. So you have to have Arcane Barrier 2 to block all of it.
Yep. And that's relevant because one of the things he struggled with the most was closing. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are unwilling to play Arcane Barrier 2. And they'll, think that the Skull Cap is going to save them and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like
we've all lived that dream.
One of the classic ways that I've finished so many games with Vis is going down to 1 intentionally. Mm-hmm. Then they don't have Arcane Barrier 3 anymore. A lot of times they have no Arcane Barrier at that point. Yeah. And so it's just like, well, now I know. It's like if I get 3 rune chance and swing the sword, they just die.
Yeah.
Strictly. Or
I've seen it myself.
Like Vexing Malice.
Yeah.
Just like once you're down to 1, I know that I can just get you, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of that weird, and Wizard does this, but Runeblade doing this too. Like, if you want to go to AB2, your normal defense gets worse, and your normal offense usually gets worse too, because you have to sacrifice the equipment you want to be running to actually block, and then you still just have to pitch a card to block damage.
Yeah, it's rough.
So it gets like tough to try to find the balance.
So Rosetta Thorn, I think, is very important. And we were on, what was this? Aria? Oh, the other piece.
Is it them creepers?
Spellbound creepers.
I had a feeling it might be the creepers.
So the Spellbound creepers are, there's so many hands, and if we're playing, you could just watch and it essentially just fixes hands that would have previously been the bad hands I was talking about.
Yeah.
So beyond, you have different tools getting added, right? Skeleton helps you pivot. Sonata Skeleton helps you win into Fatigue, which was also a problem.
Explosive turn, yeah.
Yeah. Like Oldhim and Old Bravo were extremely tough if you don't have that as a pathway. And so you're fixing different problems along the way. And then Rosetta helps in the Fatigue match. It also helps in most matches. Having a sword that can swing for 4 for 1 is very prudent.
And Mauve. And Mauve having
go
again and giving go again, yeah.
Yeah, and then the creepers, though, they just fix bad hands.
Mm-hmm. Like, what does a bad hand look like for this that is fixed by creepers? That'd be helpful.
As an example, let's say you have like red Spellblade Assault, blue Spellblade Assault, Mordred Tide.
You're connecting with your nightmares currently?
Mordred Tide, and then let's Amplify the Arknight. Okay. Red. Right? So it's like, I mean, depending on what's going on, you can maybe block and then Amplify the Arknight or play the Spellblade Assault and get some rune chance. But Mordred Tide, Spellblade Assault would be fine. Swing for 4 and generate 5 rune chance, and Arsenal and Amplify the Arknight. It's not terrible. Mm-hmm. But if they're at 12 and you need to press the gas, it's not really lighting the world on fire. So in turn, what you could do, depends on how many rune chance you have, right? But maybe it's you pay 1 for Amplify the Arknight. Because you had 2 rune chance. 2 rune chance pop coming at you for 6. I've got 3 cards in hand. And then it's okay, fine. I have 2 resources floating that would have gone unused. Mm-hmm. Pay 1 to use the boots. Play Mordred Tide as an instant. Get your action back. Then use your floating to play the other attack, right? Or swing the sword.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so if you can amplify and also, let's say you had 3 rune chance. Amplify for free. Mm-hmm. Pay 1. Play Mordred. Pay 2 for Spellblade Assault. Create 5 rune chance. So you hit for 6 and got it, right? So it just makes it where, and in that case, you had 3 rune chance pop and 5 get created. If any of the rune chance pop, you keep the boots on board. Mm-hmm. So you might get to fix the next hand. And if the next hand doesn't need fixing, you get 1 block out of it.
Yeah.
Right? Or if you can at least swing the sword, you can keep it again. So a lot of times you get, because I used to run Snapdragon Scalers, similar. Mm-hmm. You'd have a 1 cost attack that doesn't have go again. You would give it go again. You would work your way out of that turn. But the other thing that happened beyond these specific tools being created is when we were playing back in Crucible, even preparing for Road to Nationals in 2021.
It's a good time.
I was playing, Monarch had been out, I was playing Old Bravo at those events. And I don't know, the expectation was that the game was going to be 10 to 15 turns long.
Yeah.
So the other thing that happens is the game itself, right? I remember the recognition we had with Chain was if you're not threatening lethal on turn 5, or if you haven't gained health and preserved a ton of life at that point, you've already lost.
Yeah.
So with this going into Vegas, my number one goal was threaten lethal by turn 4. And Chain doesn't like to block. So, I was on 9 meet and greets as an example because it's like, well, he doesn't want to block. If I have Rune Chance and they're popping and I have meet and greets, those are really good if they're just not blocking.
Yeah.
Like just very good. There'd be some turns where it's like Mordred, meet and greet red, a couple pop, a couple get created. If it hits, you create more. They don't do anything about it because they have a good hand or Devore and stuff. You're like, meet and greet again.
Yeah.
That's like a hit. It's just like all this damage happening. But Chain changed the pace of the game to 5 or 6 turns. Mm-hmm. And then they messed with Chain, and then Briar came out. And she changed the pace of the game to maybe less turns.
5 or 6 turns.
Maybe less turns. And the reason that's particularly relevant is I think we were talking in the Discord this morning, but I think there's two things that have happened, right? A 6-turn game with Viserai. It's kind of like the Blitz games you were talking about. There was a calling this weekend. And
I watched that Vis Vivas. The all turn 2 ending.
In a game that goes 2 or 3 turns, picture the value of Skeletor.
Yeah.
It blocks for 2, and then like in a 2-turn game. Same with like carrying Husk, right?
Yeah.
So if a game is 3 turns and you're playing Chain, Husk for 6.
Incredible.
Insane. It's like
incredible.
There's no downside to that card.
Compared to, for instance, a card like Valiant Dynamo. Great example, right? Is like a grindy 15-turn advantage card.
When that got spoiled, people were losing their minds.
Yeah, I remember
because the average game was 10 to 15 turns. Mm-hmm. It's like, this is going to be worth like 10 health. But because the games are so quick, and then if you look at, you have Creepers, you have Skeletor, right? Particularly with this. If you get 2 turns out of Creepers, and you have a Skeletor turn, he can basically fix 3 turns. Mm-hmm. Which, for those kind at home, is anywhere from 50 to 60% of the game. So he just needs a couple naturally good hands.
Yeah.
And then, there is skill. So what you're deciding to arsenal, how much you're putting on the gas. Sometimes you don't swing the swords, so you can just have the 5 Rune Chance sitting there because of what you're putting in arsenal and what you haven't seen in your deck and stuff. And there's all these considerations. But the shorter a game is, the more valuable the equipment becomes if it can produce an explosive result.
And that's pretty spiky equipment that Viserai has.
Yeah. Because if we were back on planet Earth in Crucible, and it was a 12-turn game, and so I've actually been testing a little Wolfpack update.
Do we have a Wolfpack update?
Wolfpack update,
oh my
here
gosh.
we go.
Is it actually time for a Wolfpack update?
Here it is. The Wolfpack update is...
we're having a good time.
I was doing some continued testing with Viserai without Skeleton Rosetta, and it took me right back to the way it felt before. And it's the balance here is like a thin line. It's crazy because once he loses the Skeletor pivot turn, right? Not even just OTK, but just the Skeletor pivot, and loses the sword, he's actually whereas like right now, a lot of times I feel like I'm a turn ahead of other decks. I feel like I'm a turn behind other decks, and I'm not really quite sure how to close the gap.
Yeah.
So if you remove those 2, he might just not be playable.
Sure.
It's crazy that it's that
those 2 cards have such an impact. Yeah. And those are 2 cards that are always on the board too, like that they come with you on the equipment. And
they just fix turns. And then he also got more cards, right? So you get like in Everfest, you get Swarming Gloomveil, you get Revel in Runeblood. And so Swarming is just, again, you're getting more access to cards that will naturally make your turns just play out smooth.
Yeah.
Revel in Runeblood, the same thing, where it's like, this just creates a lot of opportunity for turns to go very well for you.
Yeah.
And then that's when you end up where we're at.
So do you think the whole, the entire redundancy, it feels like the card pool for this specifically, and to some degree, I think other Runeblades, and this makes sense. We had this, then we had another Runeblade, then we had another Runeblade. Yep. The opportunity for cards to come in that fix problems for all of them has been high.
Yep.
So like, I'm not, not a huge deal ultimately. But over the course of that game, like something that came out for, let's say, Briar maybe, or that was intended for Briar, could do some work in Vis, although that one's a tough one, but Rosetta Thorn is the obvious example.
Yeah.
And then things that came out for Chain also happen to kind of help put Vis in a better place. Things that came out for both of them put Vis in a better place. And so here we are with a lot of redundant consistency in what the deck's trying to do.
Well, and to be fair, right, when Arcane Rising came out, Vis was very much considered tier 2 or worse.
Yeah.
When Chain came out, he was considered tier 2 or worse. When Briar came out, he was and so like if you're a designer and you're making Rosetta, the fear at that moment, I'm sure, is not, if we give this to Vis, he's going to be too good.
That's true.
It's like, actually, if we need to give Vis tools because he's still not playable.
Are you saying that he's becoming the Arc Knight as we speak?
Hey, I'm not saying it's thematic, but I'm saying it's very thematic. You know what I mean? But I think it kind of gets to the next layer of this, though, for me, which is, we're talking about all these things that Vis does, but I think realistically, the thing I've been recognizing the most in all my testing is so many moments where my opponent's presenting damage, and it depends on the class. I think any class that was benefiting from the 10 to 15 turn games, or you're being chief among them, they're just really consistent. They can always block. They can always make use of every card in their hand.
Yeah.
So they can kind of tailor their hand around what you're presenting to them. Runeblade doesn't have that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of 2 blocks, a lot of weird values. I need, the example earlier was, I think, Mordred Tide into Gloomveil, into Revel in Runeblood, into pitching to Swing a Sword. 4-card hand for 17 damage. And it's the recognition that, like, if I block with any of those cards, I can't play Revel and Swing the Sword. So I lose 7 damage off of that turn.
Yeah.
So when you're presenting, let's say, what's the 0 for 3 if it hits draw a card? Bolt of Courage?
Which in Bolton?
For Bolton.
Yeah.
So let's say you Bolt of Courage. In old times, it'd be like, it's probably worth blocking 3, especially if I have like Mordred. Blocks for 3, it's a non-attack action, and doesn't give you the boost to give a go again.
Yeah.
It's like prevent 3 damage and prevent you from getting another card. That's pretty good value for 1 card. But if I'm blocking and it prevents me from doing 7 damage,
you should never do that.
No way.
Unless you're going to die.
Yeah. So you have to present something so bad, like that me blocking is actually going to, blocking 1 for 7 is crazy. Like, I'm never going to make that trade. So when we're playing today, if there's ever moments where I feel like it's the funny one of those things, and Runeblade, another piece of their pie, at least as far as I can tell, and I said it this morning, and I at this point, it's actually genuine. If your 4 or 5 card hands aren't either doing 15 plus damage,
5 for 15 is that you can't even, that's not even in the conversation.
Right.
4 for 15 is like, okay, that's respectable.
I think your 4 card hand needs to be providing you 15 plus.
Yeah.
Or more. Or 4 card hands need to be disabling your opponent in some way. Otherwise, I don't think it's so hard to play the game right now.
Yeah, just don't play them. And that is good, ultimately. Like, that's good, right? So if you imagine a game where if I block with my whole hand, I do 12 in value, and if I attack with my whole hand, I do 15. Like, that's not bad, because the last thing that you really want is everyone to be incentivized to not attack, and everybody just blocks with their cards until the last weapon wins, right? Yeah. So you have to have scalable offense on these hands. That's a good thing. The question is, if the current state of like the class mix and the hero mix, like we talked about the Welcome to Wraith heroes and kind of what was happening if you didn't block them. If the consequences that those early heroes were presenting are no longer good enough to, when you're looking at a 7 card or 7 value 1 card block, if that's actually more valuable than blocking Dawnblade or blocking a barraging swing or whatever it is, then the only barometer we have left is like, well, who can go faster if nobody's blocking? Because at a certain point, everybody's getting more value out of not blocking. And so when I think about this in this context particularly, Dory is kind of, I love Dory because there's a lot of value that you and your opponent are working out on the table through exchanges of I dare you to and I won't or I will.
Yeah.
And if I do, and I do it successfully, I play that defense reaction from Arsenal, or I thought you didn't have the attack reaction and you didn't, and I called you on it. Those moments are where like the win percentages start to skew. I think the thing that people recognize with this that is frustrating is that it doesn't feel like there's a lot of interaction points to say, I'm going to make a decision that's going to change the context of this game.
Yeah.
Because it's like generate, attack, generate, attack, generate. And it's not that there's 20 hit effects that are making all these rune chants. It's just playing cards that are doing it.
Yeah, and I think a few things you don't want from a design perspective, which you're exactly right on, if blocking out every turn is the right answer always.
Yeah, oof. We got close to that early.
Yeah. That's not great. Because it's literally you do your thing, I just block with my whole hand until the moment you can't do something that makes me block with my whole hand.
Yeah.
And blocking, I think, is undervalued in the game. I think actually, even still, people block less than they probably should. There are moments where I'm looking at a situation and it's like, if you would just block, I think I'm dead to rights. Anyways, second thing, which is kind of what it can feel like right now. If it's like we were saying earlier, the first card I block is actually going to cost me 7, and I'm so disincentivized to block, then it can become we're both just playing out hands, and whoever's hands happen to get them there faster is who's going to win. In which case, it's like, what are we just playing war?
Yeah.
Like who's going to...
And don't get me wrong, that's exceedingly fun still. Like,
yeah. Well,
I've had some wonderful times, even just sometimes in Sealed, just like, oh, we're going for it then, aren't we? It's just like, all right, you can do that, I can do that.
But I think
it's kind of interesting.
I think because a lot of people. So let's talk about Starvo for a second.
Okay.
Start of the show,
and then we're gonna talk about how to beat Vis.
Yeah.
Because you got some ideas for sure.
The thing about Starvo is, and that's where I'm going with this ultimately. He's a great way to beat Vis. So his ability gives him dominate +2 and go again on an attack if he triggers. So when you mix that with obviously discard effects or control effects, so Oakenold, Crippling Crush, Spinal Crush, all that stuff, Disable even, the ability to dominate, make it where you can't block, and also get damage in, and also prevent you from doing anything on your turn, is one way that's just a flat-out problem. So even Old Bravo is a really interesting choice against Viserai. Mm-hmm. He's got a lot of blues. He doesn't mind playing Arcane Barrier. Like he can actually do that, and he can also sometimes just take, if maybe you have a 10 damage turn that generates 5 rune chance, and that's your turn. He might be willing to take 10, dominate, crippling, crush you back. Yeah, and he can just his pummel.
Have you been testing Steadfast into that instant block 6? The next 6 times they come through. Testing. I think it's interesting.
He got some tools.
It's a good way to get around. He can play it, right? Or is it just elementals? I think he can play it. It's a good way to get around a lot of the Runeblade problem, which is it's like hit you for 1, hit you for 3, hit you for 2, hit you for 2, hit you for 2, like that mixed damage. Mm-hmm. I think Steadfast is kind of a nice. It's like Bonehead Barrier if it was playable. But
yeah. So New Bravo and Old Bravo, I think, are both have the tools to mess with Runeblades in a productive way. Their biggest problem generally is Prism. They don't have a lot of go again, so the auras can get very out of control. It's not unwinnable, but it's also just not not favorable by any means. But the issue, and I know you're working on Warrior, right? So dissecting this problem from a Warrior's perspective is potentially most interesting. But when it comes to Runeblades in general...
Is it target? I thought Steadfast was the next X. Oh, it's one source. That's right. You have to declare the source. Ugh. Can you declare Viserai or your opponent?
I declare you as my source. And you means you, in this case, for our champions friends among us. Anyways, so the thing I would...
read the end of the card.
I would point to is the 4-card hand we were talking about earlier that generated 17. The math is still true. If I lose a card out of that hand, I'm losing 7 in value, which is super significant, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really tough for Warrior, and I don't know the answer, but I'm going to tell you the reality, which is people that can threaten Arsenal, people that can threaten cards out of hand, which the main way at this point is Pummel and Command and Conquer. Yeah. So if your deck can actually naturally include these tools.
I was going to say it's 2 great tastes that taste great together.
Yes, that's right.
Pummel, the times that I beat when you're playing Vis with Levia is CNC Pummel.
Yeah.
like twice.
It's huge value, right? Because it does take him from these really crazy turns to way less damage. Now, the other thing is, depending on what your class you're playing to beat this, hit effects that are super relevant are things that make him have to pay more resources. This is why Lexi can have game into him. Oldhim can have game, but that's a whole different story. The thing about the hit effects on Azalea, right? Go again every time you do an action, you lose a life, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like, so, you know, Guardian is the original disruptive class. Ranger is the mini version of Guardian. So you have two disruptors that are good because Vis is cut loose, not including a lot of strong blocking cards, defense reactions, that kind of thing. So you're cut loose. And so how do we stop that? And we covered this in the long, just completely insane stream of last week. But it's like, in the game, you have to be able to either be faster or as fast and roll the dice, or you have to slow them down enough that you can disrupt their game plan and win a longer game.
Yeah.
And if you're not faster and you can't disrupt, you will not win.
And this is the conclusion, right? So inevitably, I think there will be a fastest deck.
Yeah.
Which there's a lot of people that are saying, okay, this weekend is a colony in Taiwan. Hopefully, this is what people and kind of me are saying. Hopefully, Starvo wins and can get enough points to Living Legend out by May 2nd.
Yeah.
If you Living Legend out, there's a huge concern that Viserai is going to be too good.
Yeah.
And I agree. The top 4 matches and the finals match I played in Edmond, they were streamed. If you watch those games, I mean, it's like high flying from the top ropes, luchador action. It's
That's right.
burn it
now with
down.
more magic.
Yeah, and rightfully so. Like if you actually are in a situation where both players are just not blocking and attacking as fast as they can, that's not a super compelling place to be, and that's not necessarily super compelling games to watch, right? Which I won't dive into that.
You're looking for interaction, right? That's kind of the gold standard of tabletop games. Is like, is there a lot of good interaction happening at the table?
And key moments and big decisions and that kind of stuff. So the reality, though, is that no matter whether they do something to Vis or not, maybe they do, maybe they don't. That's part of why I was testing without Skeletor and Rosetta. But there's always going to be a fastest deck. I think the truth is either you have to be faster, you have to disrupt them, or you have to be able to outlast them. Right? Defensively, like you can just like not take the damage because there's like direct disruption. I think about Bravo with his discard effects and stuff for Pummel or whatever it is.
And most direct is Frostbites, right?
Yeah. Or there's, if you had these kind of tools, right? I picture Valiant Dynamo. Like technically, if you could like just keep blocking enough that they can't get around it, then that's a problem, right? Briar runs into this problem with Oldhim as an example. But and if you're not doing one of those things, like
those are the 3 axes the game lives on.
Yeah,
right?
So like even if you
strong defense, strong offense, or disruption in the middle.
Yeah, let's say you remove Viserai, just ban them, right? Let's just say he's gone. They're still going to be the fastest deck.
Sure.
And if your deck is not faster than that, and you can keep banning stuff until you get to the point where Warrior's the fastest deck. But let me tell you, we lived in a world where
it was not a good world
Warrior's
either.
the fastest deck, and that's actually not. I'm not excited about that world.
Block and hope they don't have a reaction.
And you have to be careful because you don't want to get to the point where actually, because the fastest deck is Dory, then it's like old Bravo and old him can just dominate because Dory can't, her curve is not exponential, right? The 5-card hand exponential turns, I think, are a natural counter to control.
And what you mean is like 3 cards for 8, 4 cards for 14, 5 cards for 22.
Right.
Like that kind of a scale on your hand.
The Fab Foundation is 3 per
Bolton
card.
does that well.
3 per card. If Dory, to me, is a 3 per card class.
Yeah.
Particularly her. Bolton can get a little more explosive.
But, and then her weapon scales.
Yeah.
But her cards don't. Yeah.
Dory's 5-card hand is probably a 15 damage turn. So if you're playing as Oldhim, he can block 15 pretty regularly.
Yeah.
So if
15 this morning.
Blocking 15 and also disrupting you lightly, plays the Channel Lake Frigid. Now your 5-card hand is not worth anywhere near as much, etc.
Swings the hammer.
Yeah, exactly. Swings the hammer, Okanol, whatever he's doing. Same with the start of the show. If he dominates, crippling crushes, all of a sudden you take damage and you lose 2 cards. So now you're only coming back with so much, etc. But if the game slows down too much, you actually can quickly flip to the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Which I think is way worse.
Yeah.
Even when Chain was around, I was kind of excited because I was playing Viserai and it's like, hey, if you don't want to block, that's fine. I just am going to try to move faster than you. So coming back around to you, building these decks right now, I think if you're in the middle and you don't have Disruption, Dorian Bolton can't really play 2-cost attacks to use Pummel.
Yeah.
You don't have in class.
You can force it. You really can.
Yeah, but you really can.
Nourishing Emptiness, Command and Conquer, Pursuit of Knowledge.
Yeah,
you got 9 right there. Let's
You
go.
can do, but you have to put those cards in. They're not organically in. Right?
It's not good. No.
You don't have Disrupt. You also can't really play Control. If you just block out every turn, you will still get beat. And that leaves you with, you've got to race. Strictly.
Yeah.
You have to race.
That's where it is. Yeah.
So it reminds me just of when I was building Viserai in the Monarch Chain meta. And it's like, well, start looking at cards and ways of building your deck that are just gas.
Insane.
Yeah. Because I don't know, how many times can you actually get to the point where you're threatening lethal and they have to start blocking?
Yeah. And then they get real bad.
This
bad.
is the Runeblade trick, right? And that's why like Blitz is so crazy with like Husk with Chain and Viserai on Skeleton and stuff is like, the downside of Runeblade to me is actually on a card per card basis, their cards are not that good. It's the combination of their cards and the long tail value of those cards that is really insane. Yeah. So if my turn at the end of the game, if I have to save 2 cards to Spellblade Assault you for 4 and create 2 rune chance, it's fine. It's not at all what you want though, right? Because sometimes people will be like, oh, sink below.
Yeah.
Now they get a 3-card hand.
Yeah.
Usually means you're blocking down to a 1-card hand.
Yeah, usually the end of the game.
Then you're like, I guess I'll swing a sword and 2 rune chance pop. It's like, this is bad.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I want to clarify too, because like, it's not that, I think when players complain about things, and this is a time-honored tradition, in many ways, this is the entire point of playing a TCG, honestly. Like, it's just an excuse to get to talk to each other all the time about this. It's so fun to do this. It's not like there's critical problems with X, Y, or Z. From day one we were talking about Destiny. Can you believe the action cheating? Can you believe what they let happen with this Falcon? It's like, as we play the game and love it, right? Yeah. So like, don't take it in that direction. But I think when players complain, it's because you actually feel like the scale of winnability against certain decks has dropped below an acceptable level. Like, for instance, for me, I know that I'm going to be playing weird stuff. It's what I like to do. It's the whole reason that I'm here. And my joy in doing that is greater than my joy of winning every game. Cool. My joy of complaining is also very high, too. So, like, it works perfectly. It's like
and people love your complaining.
Pie. Some people do, some people don't. If you don't, you can mute it. But, like, if it's a 30-70, it's like, all right, bring it on. That's a cool challenge, and sometimes the deck spits out the hand I need. If it's a 20-80, it's like, hey, a 1 in 5. Get you a 1 in 5. If it goes to like 10 to 90, then it's like, well, I don't even really want to try because I don't feel like I even have a possibility to win, right?
1 in 10, 1 in 20 is rough.
So that's when it's like, it's not that you need to take these top decks and make them not exist. It's that you need the 90-10s to be 30-70s or 60-40s. And as you try to get further and further, your goal is that 50-50, where player skill is the tipping point either direction.
And I think one of the challenges is a lot of times when you're messing with cards, and this is the tough part of banned and restricted and stuff, is that you can make the Bolton Dory match into Viserai go up to 60-40 for this, so or down to 60-40 for this.
60-40, yeah.
But sometimes when you do that, you also make the Prism match unwinnable. Like he goes from, let's say right now he's 60-40 into Prism down to like 5% himself.
So now you got another 595 that you've created by solving the other one.
Yeah, and that's why it's so challenging on the balance. And then the way the game's coming out makes that even tougher because, again, interesting choice to do 3 Runeblades in a row like that, right? And
why didn't we ask James that? We had a lot to cover. We
kind of did about composition and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was talking about Sealed Draft being the number one thing they were balancing. And that's why like Ranger wasn't originally in Arcane Rising.
Isn't that crazy? Did you guys hear that on the interview? That the original, it was filled me with so much gratification that Azalea was not intended originally for Arcane Rising, but was put in to try to fix what was a problematic, seemingly limited format out of those boxes.
Yeah, so like that's a good case of it's possible. Star of the show was originally an Arya, right? And then it was like not quite ready. Still not quite ready. But all that to say, Runeblade and Guardian have the most cards right now, and it's kind of funny. Those are, even with the first two sets out, those are the two classes I gravitated towards, and then it was just like, here's all the cards.
Yeah, dude.
But I'm terrified of a long dark winter where they don't get a lot of cards for a couple years, and then they're basically getting a lot of stuff that's really good against them for 2 years. And it's just like, I'm enjoying it while it lasts. I'll say that much. But I think, talking to your point, to me, it's not about complaining. I personal opinion, if Starva goes away, I expect Legend Story Studios to do nothing. Mm-hmm. And I'll also say, going back to the Wolfpack update, here's what we're doing. There's another Wolfpack update. This is the big one.
Is it possible we can actually bring that graphic in again?
Yeah, there it is. You've got to get a couple in every show. So, genuine Wolfpack update here. And then I want to talk about the complaining in your situation here with these decks is I after the interview with James, which you haven't caught that, it's on the Covenant Cast episode. It's not on YouTube. It's on our podcast. You can find it on the website. You can find it on... tons of people didn't know we had a podcast.
Yeah,
I texted out with a community number, and it was just like, you guys have a podcast? That's
why we have to do compelling podcasts instead of, what we've been doing.
Anyways, so based on that conversation, I'm starting to get the feeling that the less they want to do the least amount of tinkering, right? Yeah. And he said something about, even if a deck is like 4 of the top 8 of a big event, it's like it's not sustainable just to keep banning stuff that is popular. Because like I said earlier, there is going to be a fastest deck. Mm-hmm. He also said in the cast, another little tidbit, that the game is a little faster than he wants it to be right now. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming we're going to get hit effects, we're going to get a little more disabling, a little more incentive to actually block, a little, that kind of stuff is going to get built in. That's a conversation for a different time. But under the auspice that Starvo might be gone and Viserai might be a very, very... I think he's the tempo setter if Star of the Show is gone. In which case I think Prism, not as good. But what we've been doing in the Wolfpack, which is why I said the Wolfpack update, is we started to have a conversation Monday morning when we were about to test. I'll tell you what. Everyone on the team, I think I respect highly as players. In my mind, I was like, I'm kind of like an old Bravo. I played a couple of games this weekend into Vis. It's like having control effects is really nice again. Mm-hmm. Having Pummel be actually just straight up playable. Mm-hmm. All that kind of stuff. After the conversation, it's like, well, we think there might be 8 heroes that could just be good into Vis. It's like,
where's that been?
What have you guys been sleeping on? That's why people on the thing talking about Dash. It's like, wait a second. So
it might just take time. It might not be. It might be the fastest deck as long as nobody's paying attention.
Well, I think that as long as no one is not making you pay for blocking.
Yeah.
Right. And even the reality, like, so what we're talking about here in terms of the complaining about this stuff, I think this is all part of the process for me. I love it. Mm-hmm. Right. I love solving these problems. And like when Chain was the best deck and I was playing Viserai, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
I love being on decks. It's questionably the right choice, right? That kind of stuff. Anyways, I would just be heavily encouraging people to explore. Even here, just actually the truth of Bolton can't disable.
Yeah.
He must go fast.
Yeah. He must. Yeah.
Like, this is not a blocking game right now. Like, so he can't just block for 12 every round and expect to ever win. He also can't block for 6 and charge. And that's just a play pattern that's going to work. Maybe the combo works sometimes, and that's a whole different deck. But realistically, he needs to start figuring out how to go faster.
Yeah. If you can. Sometimes you can't. But try to find how fast you can possibly go.
And I think this is the important part. Macro-wise, how can you actually win this match? I think you have to speed up because the only way you're making this block is if you're threatening him.
Yeah.
Lethally.
You got to do 40 damage quick.
Yeah. So I think the 2 ways to do that, and I'm curious to see what your build you've been cooking up. One way is Saber's combo.
Yeah.
Do a whole bunch of damage really quick. Get to a bunch of soul as fast as possible. That's where stuff like soul food gets kind of interesting to me. Opening hand is like 4 cards in, combos online. Like, let's go. Yeah. And if you're not in the combo, then I think you got to go a totally different direction, which is where we get into, I think, how you're going to try to do.
And actually, it was a really good name, Will from the Cardboard Cast. he named a version of this Usain Bolt, the sprinter, right? And it's just like, okay, let's go.
He is inspired by that incredible athlete who is very fast.
Yeah, and there's one more. There's really kind of one more piece on this that I think is also worth keeping in mind is that Flesh and Blood is a very card pool siloed game, which has a lot of advantages in that, these heroes feel very distinct. The classes feel very distinct. Even just thinking about the difference playing against Lexi or Azalea, like those are miles apart in terms of play patterns and whatnot.
Very different. Even
though it's like a very limited range of card pool.
And interestingly, they both very much can disable.
Yeah.
But Azalea's disabling feels so much more like an arrow going through your leg.
It does, yeah.
Whereas Lexi's is more like
it's winter,
getting frozen. Yeah, it's really impressive.
But all that to say, so we've got
speaking of frozen,
a pretty large amount of you can unfreeze and drink the water.
A quick word from our sponsor. If you've been sitting out there listening to us rant for the hour plus we've been going so far, just remember to Hydro Brain.
Hydro Brain. So to think about this in comparison of other games, Zach and I a lot of times like to talk about Magic on the stream because it will enrage actual Magic players because we don't know at all what we're talking about. But if you think about, so like we played Spoils, which are very similar, mechanically and designed by MTG Pro Tour people. But okay, it's a game that got 5 factions, right? And so every release, there are 5 factions that all get new cards.
Yeah.
And after 6 releases like we've had in Flesh and Blood, the amount of cards in any given faction that you want to play is tremendous. And then you can pair factions together. So now, so now I can grab this card pool and my base card pool, and I can even splash a third one if I want. So I can get. So when I'm in a metagame and I'm thinking, how am I going to solve the problems I'm having? I have a plethora of options in front of me. Right now, with the state of Flesh and Blood, the release plan and the release style is get all of these classes established with the base level of their cards. And now I feel like from here on out, it's tools. It's adding stuff to these classes. Now we could see more siloing, right? So we could see Volcor, Lava Warrior, and none of those cards work with Basic Warrior. That's a fine thing. Or we could see, like we have in recently Everfest, a good amount of like just generic class support that comes out.
Well, actually, interestingly, in not Everfest, but in Aria, there were very few cards that Vis could play.
Super siloed.
Yeah, it's like
but Rosetta was
one card in 3 colors, and then a couple non-attacks, and then literally Rosetta and Spellbound.
Yeah, and so I think what the ideal next phase of Flesh and Blood over the next year or two is when I'm looking at Bolton and I'm saying, okay, how do I beat Vis? It's like, all right, well, here's my 20 on-hit effects or my 20 cards that can do any number of things that I might need them to do. Like, here's how Bolton disrupts a game plan, or here's how Bolton gets faster. When I was looking at like Doriaxis, for instance, Doriaxis, you look at the cards you can run, and it's how creatively do you want to add 3 value? 1,000 times.
Yeah.
There's like a few that can add 4, but aside from that, that's where you are. So like you just don't feel like you have the room to even make weird decisions to change the matchup in your favor. And I think as more cards get released, especially now that the base 8 have been established, my hope is not that we get 4 more new classes. That would be disastrous, I think, actually. But that we start just getting lots and lots of options and support now that the game is kind of established its base 4.
We were talking the other day in the testing group, and I mentioned like hypothetically a set that had like Ninja, Mech, and Wizard in it, and then everyone just kind of paused, and I could like feel the happiness from the idea that would be a set.
Oh, that's really cool.
3 classes that don't really appeal to me super. I mean, Wizard a little bit depending on the character.
Yeah.
But like it would be like mediumly interesting. I feel so lucky this past year the sets that we're getting from me, but I think that's coming. I think the next set's probably 3 or 4 classes that didn't get us class last year, character last year, getting classes with talents and all that kind of stuff.
And maybe some interesting, I mean, I could see some generics that solve some generic problems, whether it's auras or something else that could have an impact. So anyway, so in conclusion, in all of this discussion about the state of the game ultimately, but beating Runeblade, beating Viserai in this case, is the same old trifecta. There's no notable weaknesses. There are some weird things you can try, like for Warrior, you could try to shatter the skeleton if they block with it. I think that's pretty easily defeated by them not blocking with skeleton. So like I don't think that's a real problem.
Yeah, when your plan requires them doing something specific beyond just playing the game.
But if Starvo opens up some sideboard slots, what can you bring in a particular Vis matchup? Like one thing in this Bolton deck that I will actually need to proxy is Gorganian Tome.
I have an extra one.
Right, yeah. So it's like these are the weird card decisions you can make to try to get a percentage point on this matchup. Yep. Where it's like, all right, so this is going to play the Gorg Tome first. If I see it first, I charge it. If you see it first, I draw 2.
Anyone that can get rid of Gorg Tome, it's crazy. We were talking about this a month or two ago.
Yeah.
His ability to charge it, if you have Crown of Seeds, you arsenal it and you can get it away, makes that in any match where they might be running it actually so weirdly valuable.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's like weird stuff when you start looking at the card pool that you can do, but I do think as options expand, it'll get better. And then for right now, how to beat it, I mean, look at your options. You've got Katsu, who has the State of Mind Peace Zen State card that prevents all the Runeblade damage. You've got Dash now that has the nullifiers or the dissuaders or whatever weird mechanologist term is being used. So there's some answers to like arcane damage. You've got Kano with Scour. That's like seemingly notable. You've got...
And Scour is terrifying. It's an instant.
Yeah.
You crack Skeleton and they're just like, boom, gone.
Yeah.
All your...
Some big moments. Yeah. So there's stuff out there. And so what I'll be doing at least is I've got a really like a fast Bolton build that's it's a spinoff from what we had done previously where I was racing many streams ago.
Yeah, a while back, you were just like, let me slap as hard as and you close.
It was slapping pretty well.
I was at like 5 or 6 health.
This is kind of a more true to warrior style of that deck. It's running more on the Illuminate side and the light card side. So we'll see if we can stay true to the class, keep the 3 blocks, because I want to maintain some advantage the class has, which is a lot of 3 blocks, while still being able to go fast. And then I've got the Dory Dawnblade we can look at too. I've got an Axis rebuilt that we can look at just to kind of see what the reality of the match on the ground looks like for Warrior. We've got Leviathan too, if I'm going to show off some pummel options. That one's been tweaked up a little bit.
I love it.
And we can we're just going to hang out and play some Vis matches. I want to say...
I was going to say, it's really fascinating. This conversation ended up being way more serious and real than I expected it to be.
Yeah, good. Well,
at the top of the hour.
Serious and
real. But yeah, there's a couple things we need to mention. I'll let you
start.
start.
Really, the main thing is so we just put up the History Pack 1 pre-orders on our website.
I'll link to that.
I'm not sure how many people watching this stream are the target audience for that offering.
Especially this deep into the stream.
Yeah, but I will tell you a few things about it. So if there's players you're trying to onboard, if there's friends you're trying to get in the game, if you've been... you want to tell a story about Matt? Basically, like that kind of is probably the perfect use case of a person who this product is for.
I had a friend get into the game around Tales of Aria last like September, October, and started actually was splitting cards with a friend. You get half the classes, I get half the classes, doing our thing. Because there were so many boxes to be buying, right? So like when you get in, one of the upsides of the class system, though it's working, is was able to build a pretty good Briar deck and a pretty good Lexi deck out of mostly Tales of Aria, buying a couple singles. And then once they started getting serious about the game, we're going back to buy all these old sets. And if particularly if you're wanting to build decks for a lot of classes, if you're playing one class, a lot of times singles is just the straight line from I don't have any cards to I have a deck. But anyways, was kind of recognizing the pain point of I can't find Crucible Unlimited. I can find Arcane Rising Unlimited, but I can't find, and I got this, and then we have to get these boxes, and it's just it's a lot. It's a lot to keep up with. So the Histories pack includes cards from the first 3 sets. I think it's like 420 different cards coming out. I think it's May 6th is the release.
It's so close. And so that's another big piece of this. So just be aware, I don't know what this means for the environment as a whole in terms of these products, but our potential supply of these is extremely low, which is why we're doing them as like we call a secure pre-order. So once that order is placed, you can't refund it, you can't cancel it. We're using that data by the moment to lock in the numbers that we need of these products. Yeah. And that could close like in the next 24 to 48 hours. Like it could last for like a week, maybe at max, it would be my guess. But it's happening very quickly, and the supply available to us is very low. So if you do want those cards, now's the time to jump on that. We've got an offer there. It's a minimum advertised, so it's $112. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for new people. So $112 per box, free shipping in the U.S. on 2 or more of those boxes. Pretty standard offer there. And yeah, you can grab those cards if you like white borders. Some people love white borders. I was talking to there was somebody in the Discord recently who was like, I want to collect some of the white border cards too because I really dig that look. And there's some cards that might look better in white borders and that kind of thing. So bring it on. So if you want that, or if you have friends who want to get in, or if you have new players around, and you don't have a local store that's really hopping for you, then we'd be happy to send those products.
And I was a little surprised at how limited the supply was on our end. I don't know what that means.
I think that's the right call for them to do, though. I don't think you widely want to print these.
No. But I do think if you're watching this later and we're sold out or it's past that time, this is something I think they're planning on continuing to print over time as demand makes sense. But if you want to get those are on the website. You can find the pre-order now. Also, Evan wanted to get to this. Just tuning back in, is the history pack not included in subscriptions? It is not.
No.
We actually, after the 2.0 announcement last week, we went to a single box subscription. So there used to be first edition unlimited. Now it's just the Flesh and Blood booster box.
You get booster boxes with promos, exclusive promos.
Which we do have spots available for that. The set's coming out late June, so we'll probably charge late May, early June. But single subscription, all the unlimited subscriptions are basically gone. So if you were signed up for that unlimited, that's not happening anymore. Even for Everfest, I know there's kind of a placeholder Everfest unlimited thing on the Fab website.
Yeah.
And then the other piece of that, what was I going to say?
I will say if you had an unlimited subscription, you will need to sign up for the new Flesh and Blood booster box subscription. Everyone's combined now.
If you want to get boxes.
If you want to keep getting them, obviously. If you had a first edition subscription, you've automatically been converted to that, and everybody got emails about all of those kinds of things.
But yeah, so Fab History is an interesting product because, well, for a few reasons. One is a lot of people that would be on a subscription probably already have product from those sets and don't necessarily want to just automatically get charged and ship that product. Second part is that they mentioned Fab History 2 probably wouldn't be coming until 2024. Which is presumably Monarch, Aria, and Everfest cards. Who knows what the plan is for that? That's speculation on my part based on the way Fab History 1 is working.
Yep.
And so the timeline of when these charges are happening, if you sign up for something and then you don't get charged for 2 years, the cards get expired, you forget you signed up. I mean, it's a whole thing.
It's a mess, yeah.
And then the third thing is that supply is super limited. So we wouldn't... Based on the number we got, then we wouldn't be like, oh, let's launch a subscription for this thing. Yeah. It's just far too limited.
Yeah, and on it, just being completely honest, like I don't think this is a product that's meant for like online retail and those kinds of things in a big, large scale. I think this is meant for local stores who are trying to build a local community to be able to have something for those players who get involved with a Blitz deck or an Ira Welcome deck to start playing the game and catch up to the back catalog in a fairly exciting way. It's still rarity, and you still have different cards from what everybody else has, and that can be fun.
Yeah. And you can always use more Command and Conquers in these turns.
And it'd be great to build a cube out of.
That's right. That's actually perfect.
Ultimately, grab 3 or 4 and build a cube.
A couple more things. James saying I have a first head sub. I didn't get an email. So just go to your website on the account. Make sure under subscriptions that you have an active subscription. It should now be called the Flesh and Blood Booster Box subscription or something like that.
Check your spam too.
Yeah. Chris Gilbert saying, what's Fab History? It's a reprint set. I just linked to it in the chat. It includes basically the most important cards from the first 3 sets of the game, which is 8 of the various classes that you could possibly play.
You ready to do this thing?
Let's do it.
You want to play some Flesh or Blood?
You know what? Another thing while we're here. I'm ready. I'm prepared I'm shuffled up and good to go. We also have a ProQuest coming up June 4th. It's a Saturday. On Sunday, there's going to be one in Edmond down the road. So if you are looking for events to play in, that's happening. Just be aware of it. You want to go top down for me?
Yeah. Let's. I'll show you guys where I am at least on this. This is a lot of ideas. This is going to be Gorg Town. You can get the actual one if you want.
Yeah.
But all right, let's talk, first of all, theory, basically how we're going to attack this here, and then what winning is actually going to look like for us in this matchup. So I had a theory, which I think is still a theory, that the whole point of Raiden was you want to be able to add it to all of your turns to get maximum value out of it. So that looked like 9 take flights, so that you had that automatic go again into Raiden, followed by Battlefield Blitzes, Rising Solar Tides, Illuminates, that kind of a thing. So you're on like a higher yellow-blue curve. And the idea was you play out these 4 or 5 card hands because Bolton with the charge cost has to factor out a lot of value because one of your cards is contributing 0 to right now. And because you're contributing 0, you see cards on the other side of the charge in the Bolton card pool that are multiplying value, that are actually scaling up quite big. So these are cards like Valiant Thrust, Bolting Blade, the classics that you think of when you think of Bolton. Battlefield Blitz, a 1-for-5 with Go Again, like that's a very strong card just in terms of the numbers of the game. 1-for-5 on Rising Solar Tide, that goes to Soul. So that was a theory. That theory was not fast enough to do anything on the Vis math. It was, it wasn't wrong, but it wasn't quite fast enough. And what you start to think of is like, okay, well, if my hands, I'm pitching a card and I'm charging a card, that means I have 2 cards out of 5 that have contributed $0 to this exchange. So this is 0 value. So I have to have, if I have a 5-card hand, these 3 cards left plus Raiden have to make up 15 or more in value, which is very, very difficult to do. So similar to what Tarek, essentially sorted out with the Cheerios Lightning Briar deck is like, if I remove one of the dead cards from the exchanges and I just have the charge card, then I have 4 cards left to make up all the value. And that actually gets a lot more feasible, especially when you look at the Bolton card pool. It's full of 0 costs. Raiden swings for 0. So if you actually reapply, it's funny how you can look at a problem, create a theory that makes sense, look at the problem again, and create a theory that's directly opposite that also technically makes sense. So, okay, well, maybe the strength of Raiden is that it's 0 cost. That seems good. It's a 0 cost weapon to swing. That's unusual for the game. I dare say not really happening anywhere else. So let's play to that. So then that's where you spin out basically these 0 cost Bolton decks. And the idea here, of course, is we're never going to pitch. We might have to time to time, and we have the tools to do that if we're given the amount of cards to make that happen. But otherwise, we're really looking at yellows and reds only, and we're going to redline it. And would this get really problematic going into like Frost and Lexi and that kind of thing? Probably. But that's not the problem we're solving right now. We're looking at this.
Who even worries about that?
We're going to run 3 Soul Shields still because Soul is so important for anything in this deck to actually function that I don't want to cut that. These are all the weirdest cards that I feel like made it into the last second. Take Flight, Valiant Thrust, Yellow, and Soul Shield. I think these slots can be a lot of different things. How heavily do you want to go into your like main game plan? There's not a lot of 0 cost left in this slot. We're running stubbies, so we've got Valiant Thrust in a pinch. We've also got Helm of Sharp Eye. We pitch a yellow. We play Sharp Eye, Valiant Thrust. There's some play there. Same with Take Flight. Then the main thing in the deck, you're running 3 Snatches. I'm on 3 Bolting Blades because it is the only way to make value on the V turn that is significant enough to actually outrace Vis. It's the only way. I mean, it's not going to happen in a lot of games. You can't search it out with Beacon. But 0 for 9 is where you want to live your life. 3 Celestials, because I found myself in this kind of a Bolton deck. Often you have a big turn, then you have to take a defensive pattern to not die. And then Celestial Cataclysm with your 6th and 7th Soul actually is pretty relevant. You've got 3 Beacons, you got 3 Courageous Steel Hand Red, you got 3 Courageous Steel Hand Yellow. If this turn happens, what does that mean for the game? That means you have just lost the game. So we can just lose on a bad hand like this. There's a lot of Bolton runs into similar problems with Vis, just doesn't have a lot of consistent ways to just problem solve those problems. Like this kind of a hand without a charge card, exceedingly bad. So what we arsenal is actually becomes really important to make sure that you have charges to play. Sometimes you got to pull back on damage. Can you still win the race if you go for consistency over damage? We'll see. We're doing yellow intimidates and red. They're 0 cost. They block for 3. They have a hit effect that's pretty solid for us. Illuminate, yeah.
It's like, what's an intimidate?
Intimidate, yeah, illuminate. And also, we're running a decent amount of 3 attacks here that actually get go again from the stubby turn. So that actually makes them higher value. 3 Luminous, 3 Vs, nothing surprising there. And then your standard spread of 0 cost red and yellow charge cards.
All the hits.
All the hits. And let's see, do you happen to have stubs on you? It's very easy to proxy that. I think I've got one somewhere floating around. I know I played with one in Bolton before, but I may have put it back in the
I think it went back in the binder. I
You
do
mean
have
you don't
stubbies
have
at
it in your
home.
short stack?
Yeah, I don't. Nope. It's not in your short stack, right? There's a cold foil floating around somewhere.
Stubbies?
It's probably my house, yeah.
No way.
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, cool.
Dude.
I wish you had that gold foil stubs. Now we'd be talking.
Aaron's saying, by the way, y'all, Commoner is super affordable and where it's at. I'm really excited to play Commoner.
100%.
I was trying to build a Vis Commoner deck on DB and like hilarious.
You get 2 rare equipment, is that right?
Yeah.
Is Dynamo Majestic?
Legendary.
Okay.
Yeah. So
There goes that idea.
it's the equipment is funny, the weapons are fun, and also just like there's no Mavrian. There's no like all the go again is not there in this, and it's like, wait a second.
It might turn into my favorite format.
Yeah. It's probably
You can like be
Very
goofy without just losing, which is pretty cool.
Hendry, you guys sell the mini snaps? We do not. But these are Ultra Pro mini snaps. If you can't find them on Ultra Pro's website, I had to go to eBay to get all mine.
Tom, that's a good question. So Soul Food is in the short stack.
It's on the menu.
So if you actually think about the math on Soul Shield, it's pretty impressive. Even if it blocks a 4, it's fine. But Soul Food is worth testing in this, 100%. And in fact, I think it would be the next thing that would get included. We'll see how Soul Shield performs over the next few games.
Ben would like to let you know that he likes your gold sleeves. Timothy Lee saying, just
thanks.
placed my order for the History Fab boxes. As crazy as it sounds, I think it's fun to collect the whiteboard
That's awesome,
stuff. Well,
Timothy.
hey, thanks for the order.
Thanks so much, yeah. That's wonderful.
I'm thinking about buying one just to see.
Just open it up on stream and see what we can build.
Just
Build a
to see?
Commoner deck out of it or something. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. It'd be a fun stream.
That's what we're here for, right?
This stream brought to you by me.
Fun. This stream brought to you by fun.
Fun and good times. You want to hand me one of them shiny boards and some tokens?
Sure.
I'm going to start bringing my own materials at some point.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Self-sustaining. An independent young man.
Thank you, Van. I'm glad. So the white background still looks great on the mat.
I'm telling you, man, we got to get that van banner.
Van Ban?
The banner.
We need to hit a turn 3 V to save the world here. And that V needs to draw us like 20 cards by just chaining out Bolt of Courage.
I had a really early game with Bolton where I did that.
Yeah, it'd be weird.
And I was just like, it's like Bolt of Courage for 4. And then I think you only had attacks in your hand. So
yeah,
you're like,
probably, yeah.
take it. It's like, all right, draw a card. It's Bolt of Courage. It's like, wait a second. Bolt of Courage for 4. Just keep doing that.
Keep going. I will say I've been very impressed at how much I like charging 2 cards now with Bolton on the V.
It's like it's at some point I started paying 2 for my Sonatas.
Yeah. And you just got better.
I don't know when that started, but it was sometime between Aria and Everfest. Mm-hmm. One time I did it, I drew 2 cards, and I was like,
That's better.
so it's weird because you play a card and you pitch a card to get 2 cards back. You know, if you hit,
Yeah.
you have 1 resource floating, so you kind of need a resource,
The math is like wonky on it.
and it's like really. I don't know the percentage, but it's like I think half the time you get 2 cards, a quarter of the time you get 1, a quarter of the time you get none, or it's something. It's not exactly that, but it's like there's some scale. But anyways, it's just it just started happening, and then anytime you have 2 resources you're not going to use, it's like, well, I guess I'll just take a chance of getting 2 cards and doing 2 damage, of course.
You haven't had any snaps?
Snap.
The Bolton equipment is not something I've thought
Snapdragons?
about. Yeah. You got the scalers? You got snaps in different area codes.
I think I do have the snaps.
And what are we gonna use for stubbies? Let's use
You want to use Graph of the Arcanite?
Cole Rourke one.
I have a quill. And you gotta be gentle. That's an OG.
Are those fancy?
I just set 1.
No, those are called alpha cards.
That's right.
Okay. Is that true? Is that technically an alpha card?
Yeah, I mean, if it's from Welcome to Wraith, I guess.
All right.
It's alpha, right? Didn't they call it alpha before they called it first edition?
Yeah, probably. It's cool.
tell you I bought 10 boxes of Alpha Welcome to Raid? Just kidding.
When? I mean, that wouldn't be unsurprising.
Way back in the day before we opened them. I'm just kidding. I almost was going to buy like 4 or 8 more. Never did.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Just like how I was going to get on that sweet cold foil weapon deal we were running at MAP.
Really could have. Yeah. I was waiting for us to run.
Great for Tindy time.
Run out of the promos actually, because it was like I already have the cards, the promo cards, so I'll just wait until that's gone, so people can get the promos. I just want boxes. We weren't selling the boxes other than that.
It's very kind of you.
Yeah, and then they were out of print, and I could never get them again.
Your kindness is your downfall.
But I was just happy a lot of people were getting into the game.
Okay.
Even Steven?
I'm trying to shuffle really well, because you know that first shuffle after you've organized a deck is always just bad.
It was even bad.
I'll go first, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Make sure I remember to block with Sharp Eye, like, early, please.
Okay. Hey.
Good
block
luck
with that card.
Thank you. I'm going to activate the Tunic.
Jeremy Cole is here because Steven doesn't have stubby hammers with him.
Who has stubbies, right? I do, though. I know I do. I don't. I think I reorganize everything, to make your life better.
My life, eh?
And then, it's a weird one.
I see.
Okay. Fine. Let's pitch that V. Let's play a take flight, and let's charge here.
Interesting.
See, your cards are so good that you don't want to actually block on the first turn,
Yeah. I don't know about all that. Block for 3 with a non-attack.
Okay, take 1.
You got it.
You need some resources.
I will, inevitably.
Bolt Raiden for 3, since you clearly don't want to block.
I'll block with an attack for 3.
It goes to 4.
Take 1.
Look at that. We're already ahead.
Call it now.
Call it, yeah. Okay, Judge. Time.
That's interesting. Wyatt, turn 1 soul food fast. That's what what was his name?
Jason Lau?
Yeah, Jason.
I think it was Jason.
Jason did it to me. He rolled, he won the roll, went first. And he's like, okay, I'll play soul food, charge up for 4. It's like, guess I better kill you very quickly. All right, mine?
Yeah.
Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Let's pay 2 for Sonata.
You got it.
Looking at 4 cards, because X is 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hits for 1. Would have hit either way. You have Arcane Barrier?
No. I will by the end of all of this. I just still won't use it, but I'll have it.
Let's grab a red meet and greet.
Oh, well, that's not the one you want.
See for asking, when are the Uprising spoilers? So I'm going to guess spoilers will start sometime in May. The Everfest was only a week long for spoilers. This RA was like a month plus. It's just saying exclusive TC promo Warrior Arms.
Boom. Tefactin, Tenactin.
Okay. Let's, oops. Let's pay 1 for meet and greet. Viserai triggers, creates a rune chant. Coming in for 4 we go, again if it hits, create a rune chant. There he is. He used it early, he used it often.
Hey, we got Fatal next turn,
That's right. Pay 1, swing Rosetta. 2 arcane, 2 physical, and 1 arcane from the rune chant.
Take it all.
No arsenal, pass. Oops. Didn't mean to bump your helmet there.
Yeah, thanks, man. Let's go Express Lightning Red, charging a Snatch. And 4 coming at you. Well, activate Express Lightning to take up the Tunic.
No block.
Ding, ding, ding. Let's go +2. We'll go to 6.
Yeah.
And
Man, how foolish would I have been to block there?
We'll see. I mean, like, it actually is feeling like 3 damage here off of a Raiden snaps. May be important. I don't know though. I'm gonna be a little more conservative than I might want to be with my.
It is interesting.
I just don't know. I mean,
how about this?
3 turns, 4 turns. We'll see if 3 damage mattered.
If 3 turns from now you wish you'd added 3 damage by busting that, I will let you bust it and I'll go down 3 health.
Easy.
That way we just know.
Let's go.
How aggressive should you have been? All right. Well, same song, different verse. Literally. Let's play another Sonata. Get it? It's a music joke.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. I hope this one doesn't work very well for.
Oh man, hits for 2 arcane. Okay. Hit the money ball. Come on down. We're going to get lottery tickets.
Hit the money ball.
Can you run the math on me when you pay 2? What are the odds of hitting, if you're 50-50, perfect split on your deck left? What are the odds of drawing 2, odds of drawing 1, odds of drawing 0? I started doing that math this weekend. It's really weird math. First card doesn't matter. Second card really doesn't matter. And then third card does matter. I think it's a 25% chance to hit 2, but I'm not. It's beyond my brain. Okay. Look at this 5-card hand that I suddenly have with 1 resource floating. Who did this?
Who did this? How did this happen?
Well, how did we get here? All right, if I do that, and that, and that, and that. Is that right? That. Hold on.
I will tell you, my fear is that you can actually just do 32 here. I'm very serious.
I can't. Unfortunately. My concern, dude. These are our concerns. I do get it. Okay, this is the line. Red Mavrian, create a rune chant. Marubian. We're gonna play Spellblade Assault. So I'm gonna pay for that with 1, 2. 1 rune chant pops. 2 get created from the card. 1 from Viserai.
Take the chant.
All right. Then you have 4 physical coming at you.
If it hits, it makes 3. Oh, it's so bad, man. You're punching me in the value brain. It's so annoying.
Right there in the value brain.
It's like, I don't know, man. Right?
So good.
This is a pretty good little V-turn we're cooking with here.
Yeah, you have that turn 3 set up. Got a couple cards in soul.
Yeah. But 3 rune chants is pretty serious when you're on skeleton next turn.
Norian saying, people were saying Sonata isn't the problem, LOL. So, I don't think Sonata is the problem, if there is one.
It's a good card.
The odds of hitting 2 on that, or when you're just playing at 1 without paying anything, it's like a 1 in 4 to do nothing, and then a 75% chance to do 1 arcane and switch itself with an attack action, which is good. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, the combo with Skeleton and Rune Chants and stuff, particularly good. But at the same time, like, I don't know, that feels like a very fair card, minus the Skeleton version.
Yeah, it's just interesting. These are our concerns, dude. My concern is that if I block here, you pitch on the Gloom Veil makes me happier, but like, my concern is that if I block here, I save the V to next turn, use Skeleta, take me to lethal. I think that's a very real possibility. So then you never get to have the full V turn. So
we can try it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try this way first. Let's go. I'm just gonna soul shield this.
Good value.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm gonna do is a Runeblade special. Revel in Runeblade.
Are you cracking it this turn?
No. Okay. If I had Sonata again here,
it'd be swell.
Just crack Sonata. It's like
that'd be pretty sick. Yeah.
Anyways, no, I'm just gonna pitch another Gloom Veil to swing the sword.
Okay, so take an 8.
8, 2, 2.
So I'll take 12. Yeah, see, this is the problem, right? So now we're at 19. and we tunic up. This is where I do. I think, but you're only on 4, so that's better for me.
And no rune chance currently.
Yeah. And I think the better option here. I'm gonna take a crack at this. So I'm gonna crack snaps. And again, you have to be like
Stubby.
Yeah, stubs. You have to be bad. You have to do weird stuff to give it a shot here, right?
That's what I was gonna say earlier, towards the end of the conversation about dark horses. If you're trying very different builds, sometimes really weird lines of play actually end up working.
Yeah. So we're gonna go bolt for 4, charging, engulfing.
For 4?
Stubs.
There it is. Yeah. Okay. Read chatter to me.
I won't play it. Yeah.
Block for 4.
All right, you got it. I will go ahead and give it go again, and then swing for 3.
I'll take 3.
Yeah. Just trying to buy myself a little bit of pressure. Unfortunately, the double 2 black is a problem.
It's a real thing that exists out there.
But if you don't block the courage, and then we're in a pretty good spot if you don't block the courage. Yeah.
Yellow Marvin.
Yellow mauve.
Not ideal, but we're doing it. Swarming Gloomveil. Creates a rune chant. Coming in for 3 with go again. If it hits, create 2 rune chants.
It's gonna hit. Take 3.
All right, and then let's play Amplify the Arc Knight. So 3 pop, 1 gets created. It was free because I had 3 rune chants.
3 pop. Taking 3. And then 6 more. All right, taking 6.
Arsenal pass.
Okay. Now we'll get into some weird stuff.
Let's go.
Yeah, we'll do V. We'll charge twice. Here. Coming at you for 5.
No block.
Okay, so I'm gonna roll in with something interesting that you can do. So, I mean, here's the reality, right? So you got this steel hand in here. On a V turn, this card is your lowest value, 0 cost, because it's not getting the +2 from V. This is where it's an interesting moment. You can just pitch this Crack Sharp Eye and try to hit a 0 cost attack, which I think in this particular situation, with the hand that I have, like I got 5 on Raiden, I've got a Courageous Steel hand for 3, so we're at 13, and then this card would have to be doing at that point like 17 damage to really get there. So at this point, I think you do. I think I pitch that crack and reveal the red engulfing, which is why you do that, right?
Nice.
So then we'll give this go again.
We like the style.
And we will play 5 damage engulfing light red.
I need to take 5 from V.
Right.
I will not block.
Okay. We'll give it a go again. It's going to go to my soul. We'll do 5 damage Raiden.
I'm a little terrified of either the 0 for 7 down there.
This is my hand too, it's not ours.
Yeah, sure. I'll take 5.
I'll give it a go again.
Come on.
And we do. We have the Bolting Blade for 9.
I'm telling you, man. You're a turn off, really. If that happened one turn sooner.
And that's the thing, is it can. Technically, if it lines up right, it definitely can.
No cards in hand?
No.
All right, I'll take 9.
Yeah.
Agent Zero, what's up? Just that when Arkham Horror revised, love the changes they made. What are the changes? I'm not super familiar. All right.
So this is why there's 3 Celestials, right? So like at this point, I'm going to have to block down to like a garbage can.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's...
Yeah, Tom, the good question. Would the extra 3 from earlier have mattered? Why? So the value of the 2 charges over the 2 charge cards, one of them is Bolting Blade, obviously, so that's where the value is. But if you look at it, like if you have 1 card charged off of V, gives you 2 value off the top. So Raiden gets +1 for that card, and V itself gets +1 for that card. So 1 card charged extra on V gives you 2. So then if you play an additional attack, that's 3 value for the extra charge card. If you play additional attack, it's 4 damage from the extra charge card. So if you can do V plus 2 cards, the second card, barring Bolting Blade, is equivalent to playing a 3 damage attack that gets +1 across all of your other attacks. So there is some math on that. So when you see V and Raiden are there. So when you see Engulfing and then also the Bolting Blade, you've hit enough attacks that your bonus is actually better on the 2. It also just gives you 1 more soul, so you have to factor that in too. So if it's equivalent damage, but you gain 1 soul in the process, I think it's worth having.
All right, party time. Let's become the Iron Knight. Get rid of an attack.
Yeah.
Murdered?
Uh-oh.
Tells a story, you see.
Uh-oh.
Focus. Runeblades? Yuck. All right. We're going to play a Yellow Maverin. Create 2.
Yellow Mauve.
I'll play a Rune Flash. 4 pop. 2 get created. Four physical. If it hits, create 3 more rune chance.
All right, we'll block 4 with the best blocking hand, Snatch, and Courageous Steel Hand.
The value. Then we'll swing the sword. 2 arcane, or 1 arcane. 2 instances of 1 arcane, 2 arcane, and then 2 physical.
You got it. That's it.
Oh, you don't have skull cap.
No.
And in my head, I was like, well, you could pay.
No. And even if you did, what do you do, right?
Run it back?
Yeah, sure, we'll do it again. But you can see, like, so you end the game with 3 soul there. It's like, this is such wasted value here. It's like, early on, is it really just, like, do you really need to be... Like, one instance, Courageous Steel Hand, ditch a soul, swing Raiden for 3. I think you probably need to take those micro exchanges a little bit more. Even Snaps goes unused there, right? Yeah. So, like, you have to use this stuff.
Yep.
Immediately.
That's the... With my equipment, the boots and the skeleton, I am in an aggro situation, unafraid to use them as soon as the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, I think you have to.
But yeah, like, so if you had Snaps there, I would have been at 2 health. So, like...
Yeah, it's not, it's like, like you run some shunts, and play 2 of them against your sword swing, and then you lose the game.
Right? But really, though, it's like... It's not...
That's the weird thing, is it's not that far off.
Yeah.
That's why it's inside. Did you pop Skeleton to that? You didn't? Yeah, okay, so that's one of the reasons why.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I think the... It can feel more unfair because of what we were talking about earlier with the Runeblade, where they kind of store value. So you forget about a lot of times the turn before that was kind of like weaker stuff that just made rune chance.
Yeah.
But then you always remember the Skeleton 42 damage turn, or the 28 damage turn, or whatever.
I would say it's worth remembering.
Yeah.
The build rune chance turn used to be like read the ruins, pass, and now it's like do 20 things, do like 12 damage and end with rune chance. It used to be a little bit more like deal 7 damage and create 2
it's a
rune chance.
little unhinged. Aaron, really love hearing that, saying, hey, I just want to say I've been a huge fan of the podcast for a while, but wanted to give you huge props for the past 2 episodes. Really great stuff. Looking forward to more.
Awesome. Equinox saying, I feel like Bolton wants to charge less than we as players want to, but then you might as well as have a blank. And the thing is, like, Bolton's ability to give things go again is always on. So like it could be a reason to run the hero entirely. I think the problem is that if you look at all the cards that require you to have charged for those cards to have value in the card pool as it sits, it's high, right? It's like you can't play your Valiant Thrust, you can't play your Battlefield Blitzes, you can't play your Luminas, you can't play your Courageous Steel Hand. So then it's like, okay, so it's a generic deck, and the generic cards are not strong enough to beat Runeblade.
You want to go first or second? I'll let you pick.
Sure, I'll go first. Charge and
Science.
Charge and Barge. Oof, it's an ugly first turn hand.
Mine's an insane first turn, so I'm glad.
It's real bad though. No charges. You think 27's enough, but it never is. It has to be 30, doesn't it?
It's the universe reminding you.
Yeah.
Tim Aiken, podcast 100. Someone else said this. 100% needs to be on YouTube, even if it's just a splash screen in the audio file. It's interesting though, because it's not really what the platform is about. It's a video platform.
You can't watch audio, right? This is not good. Bolting Blade for 7.
You might be surprised.
You need that soul though.
Oh.
The rare 4-cost Bolting Blade coming at you. Followed up with a Pummel. Let's go.
Oh, block. Look at this though. Block for 6.
That's a win in my book, isn't it?
It's a crazy.
Who needs soul when you can just deal 7?
Right? Tony's saying apparently YouTube is used for music and audio more than anything.
Are you kidding?
Sonata. You play a lot of your mixes off YouTube. It makes sense, actually.
Yeah, it's true.
Hits for 1. And it's a red meat and greed.
Oh, come on, man.
We like the stock. Jeremy, 3 cards for 7. That's just warrior, baby. Question is, would you watch this without the video feed?
That's basically what we're asking, right? Basically the question.
It's the real question we all need to know here. All right, meet and greet. Create a rune chant coming in for 4. If it hits, you know the drill.
It's hitting.
Oh, let's get a rune chant.
I don't like it, but it is. For sure.
You know what? Let's do it again. Red meet and greet. 2 pop. 1 gets created. You want to keep going on this ride? Because I'll keep letting you.
Sure, man. I'll be meted and greeted.
Now look at this. Could swing the sword for 4 and 2 rune chants. I'm an Arsenal pass.
That's right. Because you got that pro play instinct.
The Eddie Murphy gift. Obsidian, please add the podcast. Okay, here's the question of the day.
Yeah, we'll add it.
You know what?
We probably have to.
It needs to be. I've now established. I'll ask the random questions to get people to comment. It's just the question of the day. Got a clip, post a YouTube clip with just a minute, This is the question of the day.
Yeah.
3:31 p.m., April 19th, in the year of our Lord 2022. Mark it. Anyways, the question is, would you like us to upload our podcast to YouTube, even if there's no video, but it's just the audio? Would that actually make you listen to it? Or would it just make your life a little more convenient? You're still going to listen to
We just need to know how much resources to devote to something we're already getting value out of. Okay?
To be fair, I get it. We have the YouTube subscribed people get a notice, it be in their feed.
Yeah, it's
that
like you
not
flood
in
your
right
video
now?
feed, but we're already got 4 streams. It was different when we first weren't doing YouTube, because we were posting a video like once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we didn't want it to be just like, this is our podcast feed, but
Yeah.
it's also just more intimate, right? It's kind of behind the scenes. We talk about stuff that you probably shouldn't.
Leaving to the some of the responses live. My brain was just not working. Tom says, I've watched the stream while only listening to the audio. I often listen to the stream without watching it. Whitaker says he would not watch if it was just audio. Buy the Ticket says, yes, please upload the podcast. Ryan Cochran, yes. Obsidian, yes. Jeremy, yes. Copy Cutter, yes. Scott saying...
it seems pretty close, then.
James saying, yes. Equinox saying, absolutely. Just put it up. Silhouette saying...
But like the effort that takes, right? We got to take the audio file. We got to put it into a movie file. We've got to add the intro. We got to have something that happens during the intro.
I thought the effort was just email it to Bryce. It takes care of itself from there.
Bryce 3.0,
Yeah,
the video editor. Hey, you got a red in golfing for 3. Watch out.
Jacob, this is a good point. I need to draw my hand. Saying the biggest bonus to me for a podcast being on YouTube would be the comment section.
Yeah.
That's what Discord's for. Don't you see? 3.
Yeah, isn't that funny? It's like you look at these attacks and you're like, oh, yeah, I just don't think 3's enough.
Okay, no block.
All right, I'm going to snap it, though.
Well, let's
I learned
go.
my lesson last time. I'm going to snap that thing. It's coming in. Check this out, though. You didn't see this coming, did you?
Love this. Steve says, yesterday Steve was asking if we wanted 4K. Today it's asking if we'll watch with no video at all.
How about a double Lumina? How about that?
No way.
That's right. Swing for 5.
Block here.
I'm going to give it +2.
Oh, he hits anyway. It's a travesty.
Charge it. Charge it.
And heal twice. Come on now.
Give it go again, etc. It's important to do all of that in the right order, which, as you might imagine, I'm just not.
T-Man. Honestly, if it's on YouTube, I'd notice it way more because it's my main content stream.
Second, swing with Raiden for 5. Can we force Vista block with the power play out of the Bolton Handbook?
This is still the same chain, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no block.
Give it go again.
What'd you pump for? I didn't take the damage.
2. It should be 2 extra if you block 5.
4. And then 5 this time.
Yeah. Let's reveal 2. Keep those snatches away. Oh, there's the V.
And Lumina, come on now.
That's the power couple right there.
Damon says, yes, please post the podcast to YouTube.
And lastly,
It's about 50-50.
let's swing Raiden one more time for 5.
You know what? I'll give it to you. I'll take 5.
All right. It's your choice is to give
You
it to
didn't hit
me.
a single generic. That's really impressive.
I only have like 6 in there.
Okay, that's not as impressive.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. It's more of a light, heavy.
Professor Plywood, I only needed the last episode of the podcast with James White because you mentioned it heavily on the stream last week.
All right. We're learning things every day about the audience that we love so much. Jordan's self-listening to audio while driving home.
Be careful out there.
The stream, so yeah.
All right. Here's what I'm going to do. Sonata. Classic.
Fail.
Hits for 1.
Oh, you get a blue Spellblade. Did you need that one?
I needed a blue. I can't tell you.
Why is everything so consistent? That's actually the Sonata thing too. It's just like filtering, getting the cards you need, and then you got the boots. If you don't have Go Again, then you...
Yeah, someone's saying they're currently listening to audio while driving. Someone has to stop commenting while you're driving. Didn't even think about that. He was never heard from again. Okay. All right, let me work this out.
We gotta work it out. Bolton coming in with 6 soul. I'll start doing it like a radio broadcast, a baseball game, then if we know people are listening in their cars. Bolton at 6 soul. Currently only taking 6 damage in the game. Vis over there sitting at 24 health. He's on the ropes.
Let's play a Runeblood Incantation Red.
This is a fine play. It's a long-term value play for Vis, which of course won't matter.
That means he expects this game to last at least 3 more turns. Not true. Anyways, this is a crazy play. What am I doing? That's fine.
Pressure blocked, huh?
Rune Flash. No, it would not have been
No.
good. 3 arcane damage, 4 physical. If
Is
it
that
hits,
7 total?
yeah, if it hits, nothing happens.
Okay. I'll take 7. Why would I block?
Don't know.
I'm ahead.
And then let's play a red, read the runes, create 4 rune chants.
Oh, come on. Let's go. You gonna pop him? Come on, dude. Pop him. Come on, man. Pop him.
It's not the turn. Arsenal pass.
So we got the skeleton coming up. Huh?
She's coming around the corner.
Check this out, though. We hit the V off of a 4-card hand. It's the magic. Charging this here bolt of courage.
This here Bigsby.
V coming in for 4.
Come on, man. No block. You can have it. Do whatever you want.
I'm gonna give it a go again.
All right. Boom. Down to 20. He's winning.
We're gonna snatch for 5.
What is this?
To snatch for 5.
You can give it go again?
It will be given go again. 1000% chance. Block with your skeleton.
Let me check on that. Nope. You know what, dude? You got it. Take 5. Let's go.
I'm gonna give it go again.
You better darn believe it.
The old Bolton Gatling gun.
Look at him go.
Draw a card here.
I'm not careful. I'll lose this game.
Play a snatch for 5.
Come on. Come on. The hits keep coming. I'm just going to keep going down the hole here, man.
Come
Take
on,
5, man. Come on.
Yeah, go on down that hole. Go on down.
Obsidian. Snatch for 5 with Bolton. This seems amazing. Yeah, it's really good.
Express for 6.
Six or 5?
6.
Didn't you only charge once?
You're right. 5.
No wonder I lose sometimes.
No wonder I rarely lose.
Oh, man, you can have it. Let's just see what happens. You should have done that this turn. It would have been crazy.
No, these are all 4s.
Oh, that's how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't tell because there's Cole Rourke one on it.
It's a little off, disguised. All right, no block. Take 5.
All right. I've got a reaction. I've got 2 reactions
Uh-oh.
here. So 1 here, and then I'm going to hit the helm with his bolting blade because it costs 2. So
You were probably looking for a yellow.
we'll get a beacon instead. So we'll swing with Raiden for 5.
Hold on. I haven't taken this yet.
Okay, take that.
Yeah, 5.
Raiden for 5.
Now I got a block. And you can can you beacon a weapon?
I can beacon a weapon, my friend.
For 3?
I can add 3 to it, yeah, I suppose.
So I need to block.
I guess I'll leave it here in the helm slot.
Oh, because you have to play on this chain.
Yeah.
But you can give go again and swing again. Woo! And that's coming in for 4?
It's coming in for 4, that's right, yeah. It's usually 5, though.
Look at you, just dunking on me here. That's a good turn.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have both those in hand?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had double snatch, bolt of courage, and V.
So do that.
But next turn, you draw the all courageous steel hand, and then you pass. And then you still lose. Did I have too much soul, Colin? I'll put this here too in case it matters. It actually will matter a lot.
All right.
Is it? Wait, is this an? Hold on. We need to frame this up. We need to clip it. Is Viserai about to block?
Yeah.
I've never seen this before, so hold
telling
on.
you,
Let me see what
this
it
is
looks
what we're
like.
talking about, though.
Let me see what it looks like.
The only reason he's going to block is if you're threatening lethal.
That's right.
And here we are.
Yeah. Just
Coming in for 4.
Have the greatest imaginable combination of cards.
Someone's saying they think you spent the right amount of soul.
Good. I was, I'm very careful about all that.
I will block 6.
Okay. +1 because you blocked within a time.
Yeah.
But we will beacon for 5. We'll also give it go again. How much armor you got left over there? That's still on the chain, right? No, is that that was Lumina?
I haven't done anything on the chain. That was last turn.
You didn't put any armor up there?
Hypothetically, I've got 4 armor.
If you block with everything.
Mm-hmm. Not gonna. Let me tell you. Gonna learn today.
Yeah, maybe.
Got that red vine thrust, eh?
Just the yellow.
Oh, bummer. Still pretty good.
Yeah, still pretty good. So let's see. We can come in for 7. You'd still have to block with a card from hand, right? You say you can block with 4. I could crank it to 8 with those stubby wubbies. We're not going to. We'll just play Valiant Thrust for 7. Now, what you could do here, too, the important play patterns, you could do Snatch for 5 here, which I think is a card plus armor. You could do Valiant Thrust for 7, which I think is probably 2 cards and an armor. Or you take the damage, and that's a little dangerous if you take the damage. Little dangerous.
All right. No resources floating?
No resources floating, no.
He's coming in for 7.
Yeah, and you could also do stuff like Illuminate here for 5. Get an extra soul going into the next turn. There's a lot of options here. I don't know. I think Thrust for 7 is okay. It's a yellow Valiant Thrust, Patrick T. I'm a Timmy Wong, the soul.
All right. So I'm going to block 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
You're going to get +1.
Yeah.
So you're going to go 8. I'm going to take 3.
Take 3.
Woo-wee.
So this turn right there, boy.
I'm telling you, man.
I'm telling you.
I'm telling you. People think this is crazy, but I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. Have you seen what you can do with a double Lumina followed by a
when
V
people
double
aren't
snatch?
willing to block, it gets crazy in here.
Yeah, you got to watch out.
All right, started my turn as Creative Wrench. Did it. You remember what I was saying earlier about skeleton? We're going to skeleton.
You can do that big one-hander lander here.
I got 2 cards.
Oh, come on. Didn't you block with these things? Shouldn't they have tokens on them?
Yeah. I just know that I'm not going to use them again. All right. We're going to play a Sonata. It's -6. So I'm going to look at 6 cards.
I'm going to love it, dude.
We need the heat.
If you hit 27 damage here, I'm going to leave. Brandon Stubby's there is only 2 damage for me, unfortunately.
2 hits for 2. All right, let me look.
All the snatches are already at 4, right? The thrust is +1, the V is +1. I think that was it. Isn't that right? The thing is, like, so the reason you don't Stubbies there is that this turn coming up, if I don't die, which is actually possible, I need a way to guarantee that even if I have a potato, I can get go again. Because a single charge attack into this, whatever Zach does after this, is losing the game. So I need to be able to Stubby, charge attack, threaten with Raiden, or additional cards from hand. I think that's ultimately the correct. Arsenal pass?
I get 2 of these bad boys. I think it looks like that.
It's really nice, you're thinking and stuff.
I do not.
That's right, Norian. Stubby's basically your second Snapdragon. Hey, don't worry, but Dante Del Frisco is officially in the chat.
Oh,
the
Dante Del
Canadian
Frisco?
Wrangler himself.
Yeah, I hope you're doing well there, Dante. Started a new job today.
I miss Dante.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite.
I think I only met him.
People.
I've met Dante twice.
Yeah, you can only really meet him once, but he's the kind of guy that it feels like you've met him multiple times. You know what I mean?
I've seen Dante many times in my life. You know.
Okay, that, and then it don't really matter. So hypothetically here.
What's up, Dante? No, apparently I'm not cheating. I don't think anything's cheating has happened. I think we're all clean on the soul and everything. See, it's not that hard. You just
All right, get these two.
double blues. We don't hate it.
Tom says that I spotted you 38.
Yes, the challenge round. It's like the getting the achievement unlocked on the arcade game. Yeah, but can you beat the final boss with 5 health?
All right, we're gonna play Marvin Skies.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna play Shrill for free. 7 pop. One gets created. It hits. Create one more.
7 pop. 1 gets created if it hits. What did you say? How many more?
One more.
1 more, huh?
Yeah, it's coming in for 5.
All of it.
Yeah, so 7 and 5 is 12. Create or enchant.
Take 7, and then take 5.
Create or enchant. Pitch, swing the sword. 2, 2, 2.
6 total. Lose a 5 and go down to 7 health. Skeleton off the board. Coming to the 4-card hand. We're high flying now.
And that was off 2-card hand. Just
Woo! Just for those keeping track at home.
for those keeping score.
Tunic. Let's crack.
Dante Del Frisco, Jock currently on the floor. Gonna have to watch the video on demand tonight.
Crack.
Uh-oh,
the
it's Stubby's
stubs. Let's go Engulfing Light at 4. Charging and Express Lightning. That's why you save the stubs.
As they say, if he's got it, he's got it. Block 4.
Beacon. +1.
You ever think about doing +2?
To kill you? I'm just going to assume you blocked well. And then go again.
Blocked well. Take 1.
Yeah. We will do it for 2 to officially win the game. Does that make you feel better? You like that? You like that, kid? You like knowing that you lost?
Oh, yeah. We're not done yet. Raven's Shadow saying not blocking the first snatch was a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, you could easily clean up this matchup. All right, so this hits. Let's go again. Did you block with an attack? Yeah.
It's an attack. Is, without knowing, is not blocking the first snatch actually a mistake?
I think, honestly, in this matchup, if you block anything that happens on a V-turn or anything that happens on a Lumina, you will never lose.
Really?
Strictly, yes.
So, like, I was looking at, I got you down to 7 with 1 card.
Yeah, well, you can do that later, too.
Well, the thing is, like, I'm going to kill you that turn if you don't actually threaten lethal.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah,
And, like, your first snatch was pre-Lumina, right?
That's the game, ultimately.
Is that right? Like, you snatched Lumina? Or was
No,
Lumina first?
V was first. It was V on all of them, yeah.
Well, V, but didn't you double Lumina?
Yeah, earlier, though. That was not snatch
Oh,
related.
that's the turn before.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, like, I guess if you... The thing, you had the second snatch anyway, right?
Had the second snatch anyway, that's right.
I don't know.
Engulfing for 4.
Black 6.
Give it going. Eliminate 4.
Black 3. He dead.
It goes in my soul. Done. There you go. So all I got to do is hit. Listen, it's what I've been saying from the start. All you have to do is hit double Lumina, followed by V double Snatch, and draw all heat.
I mean, to be fair though, so you got Snatch, Iron Yellow Snatch.
Yeah.
You're also on the 0 for 3 that charges and draws a card.
Bolt. Yeah.
There's so many cards that on the V turn can just be insane.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to see if that happens again?
Let's try again. Oh, yeah.
Or do you want to see something different?
That's up to you.
We can play this again. I mean, I think it's in the 1090, honestly, the 1090 situation. But let's give it up for our friend Helma Sharpeye.
That was clutch.
It was actually clutch. It replaced, it allowed a Valiant Thrust to happen, and it replaced a non-usable card with a usable card. Let's give it up for our friend Snaps on that double Lumina, bringing the heat. And let's give it up for Via the Vanguard. Back when
Good
that
card.
was the most busted thing in the game. Because that was busted.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
That's really good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you block that Snatch, if it actually... I mean, it is better in the long run. I think you have to bet that Bolton does not have consistently good hands.
I mean, what... I guess what is the... Let's say I block the first Snatch. Really, I ended up blocking 5 damage for 6 anyway.
Yeah.
So I covered up similar amount of damage. So what was the last card?
Let's see. So my V line, I had 2 cards in hand. I had 2 Snatches, 2 red Snatches. So swing Snatch for 5 if you block that. Swing Snatch for 5 if you block that. I end with a Raiden swing and go to the next turn.
That is better. But I didn't have...
That is better.
I wouldn't have been able to block both Snatches. I don't think. Because I had 9 attack. I could only block 5 and 6.
Right on.
So the second Snatch would have hit anyway.
Because it had to be an attack. You had to give it +1.
It would have had to have been.
So it would have got the engulfing, and then the engulfing goes, and you prevent the Valiant Thrust. And whatever Sharp I got, I don't remember what that was. But yeah, it would still be a good turn. But it would still
Sharp
be
was the turn
down.
before though, right?
think-
Wasn't your double Lumina?
I don't think so.
Okay. I think you got an engulfing with Sharp Eye.
I did. Yeah, it was that red engulfing. I got soul in different area codes. That's right. Peter Sanders saying it correct. Let's give it up for Cole.
Cole
I
was
think this
the
is
MVP.
really the key. Yeah. Take care, Chris. Good to see you. So all the magic happened on turn 2 and turn 3 there. Isn't that crazy?
That's what I'm saying.
Are we playing Blitz? Is that what this
Can't
is?
imagine if this was Blitz.
Is this Blitz? Bolton can't play this in Blitz because he needs to get to turn 3, which doesn't exist in Blitz, as we know.
Oh, Sharp Eye was Beacon.
Yeah, we bacon the Sharp Eye, which is another search. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
But it also could have been the card I searched for, so.
Yeah.
What's +1 anyway?
Let's try you going first again. See what happens.
Okay. But then you got something to prove. You're going to block the Luminas. You're going to block the V turns. Right? Did you decide that in your head just now?
No, not necessarily.
I can't, like...
But that is literally Bolton's hit effects, right?
Yeah.
Like...
I don't think...
I actually did block one of your...
You did. I
Raidens?
just still handed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I happened to hit a perfect. I didn't even miss one of those Luminas either. I mean, it was like... That was like a game that if I could just have that exact same set of cards every time, I would be encouraged. Oh, sure. What's up here? Let's go Express Lightning. Let's charge this here. Celestial Cataclysm. Not going to see that one for a while.
Black 6.
That is the correct amount to block in case I have an attack reaction, in case anybody's watching at home. And then I've got to decide how important these things are. Activate
You
my
go for
tunic.
4 though, right? So technically if you had a 0 for 3, you could get there.
I could have 1 damage. Yeah. Arsenal here.
Trigger that tunic.
Yeah, I went ahead and triggered that at the end there.
Good. I was concerned. Oh, Yellow Mavrin,
Got a different game today.
meet and greet, create a rune chant. 4 coming 8, it already has go again. But if it hits, I'll create another rune chant. That's right, Wyatt. If I had blocked the Luna turn successfully, he wouldn't have had the soul to do the V turn like he did. But I digress. Equinox saying losing Blood Run actually hurt Bolton.
Yeah, it was bad.
I think it hurt Bolton worse than it hurt
Worse than it
Runeblade.
hurt Runeblade, for sure. I agree with you there. Oh, what's the bad stuff? If it 2?
Three
2.
total because of meet and greet plus Mavrian. It's a whole lot of Roonies. Roonies and Toonies.
Mickey Rooney's?
We do have Dante Del Frisco, the Canadian crippler, in the chat. Like that's just off the top of the head. Well, every Wolfpack member has a name.
Clearly.
An alter ego. No, what do you call it? Anti-alter. What's the character that they play?
Persona?
A persona it is.
Yeah, I'll block
The
that.
Canadian crippler. Brother.
I had there's a weird turn here. I just don't have enough soul for it in my mind. 5?
It do be
5.
like that, yeah. 5.
Sure.
Or something.
You did it. You got it. You got it.
Thanks for playing my Runeblade games.
These Runeblade games. Red Bolt coming at you. Double Celestial in the soul. I am a new god, the likes of which you've never seen.
These Runeblade games.
You can get your flesh and blood. You can get your jewel.
It's crazy, man. Just make your head spin how crazy it is.
Hey, man, you gonna block that?
I'm just thinking.
Now we're playing flesh and blood, boy.
No block.
Okay. I'm gonna think about that for a second. I think this is where I gotta snap.
It's a really good snap opportunity.
All right, I'll snap and activate tunic.
Of course, yeah, they're really tied together. Anytime you activate a tunic for the first time, or anytime you activate an equipment for the first time around, you get a tunic counter. Take 3.
Take 3. I'll draw this.
I will remember to call you in the morning. And don't forget that playing Bolt triggers your tunic, Steven. A lot of opportunities there.
Crowd's in on it, man.
Man, I tell you, every time I play a deck that has tunic in play, I'm always a little nervous going into the tournament.
How frisky we want to be here.
You ain't got anything to lose. Start swinging.
Start swinging. Let's swing for 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna still not block.
All right. So here's the interesting thing. I think we're gonna give this +5.
Why not?
Because you could pitch Sharp Eye, hold both of these. You could give this go again with your soul, pitch Sharp Eye, get another attack. If it's like Illuminate, you come in, Illuminate 8, it goes to soul. It's a soul neutral situation. It could be a lot of bad things too. That could be a lot of things that don't really matter. Valiant Thrust there is fine, right? 7 damage.
What could be bad?
Bolting Blade is bad here. Soul Shield is bad here.
Bolting Blade's not bad if you pitch the red.
I would then pitch these 2 to play a 7. I could just get +5, right? Because it costs 1 to use the Sharp Eye.
Yeah, but if you use the Sharp Eye, you've already charged once. The Bolting Blade would cost you your yellow.
It cost me 2.
Isn't that a yellow?
What? I have to spin this to activate Sharp Eye.
Couldn't you? I was saying pitch the red to use Sharp Eye.
Yeah, so these two, no matter what, these 2 cards get pitched to play Bolting Blade. Are you hip to that?
Yeah, so if you pay 1 here and then you pitch that, you're doing 7 instead of 5.
Instead of 5.
But the main thing is if you're going to do this, if you pitch the yellow first, I get what you're saying. You still have the same resource count.
Yeah.
Battle
Hardened champion Zach Bun on the flip here.
Been a long couple of days.
2 and 1 makes 3. Either 1 or 2 or 2 or 1.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm good anymore. If the people I play against just aren't as good, you know.
Talk to Del Frisco about that one. How about 5 more? Let's just do 5.
8 total.
Yeah. Let's see what we would have got. Oh, look at that though. So if we sharp eye here, then we're 1 less soul. Then we snatch Courageous Steel Hand if we need it. 1 less soul if we want to try to go again. And then we're sitting on 0 soul going into the V turn, which...
Not the dream.
Probably not ideal. Now, this is going to be in my hand for the V turn, so don't CNC me.
I'm going to act like I haven't seen it. Mitch. Hey, guys, I'm looking to build a dual fusion Briar deck to play Fulminate and Blossoming Spellblade.
Yeah, that's the dream,
How do you feel
isn't
about
it?
those cards? So I spent like 3 or 4 weeks trying to make Blossoming Spellblade work, and it can work. The biggest problem with it right now is that the pace of constructed is so fast. The restriction of having the double fusion and that stuff is... That's not the worst part. The worst part is you also need non-attack actions and discard pile that are worth triggering that on. Fulminate, I like in general. It's like a little baby heroic. But yeah, no, I think a mixed Briar is a fun deck. My turn.
Yeah.
With a full grip. Woo!
Do you guys call them grips these days? Is that cool?
I don't know. It just came out.
Wasn't that a Netrunner thing? They called it the grip, didn't they?
I think I've been playing with Tim and Ian. He'll call it a grip.
Oh, yeah. Degenerate players. Forest list here on the backside. Yes, upload podcast to YouTube.
Noted.
So like I said, it's about 50-50, so it's not very convincing.
We're going to go Rattlebones.
First time I've seen Rattlebones today.
It is. We're going to banish Swarming Gloomveil.
Can you explain why that card's so good?
Gloomveil?
Yeah.
Well, it costs nothing. And it's potentially 4 damage, a rune chant, and a hit effect is pretty good.
Does that go again?
Yeah.
It does as well. Wow.
Yeah, and it's a Runeblade card, so, you know.
That's crazy. I wonder how that happened.
We're going to play Blossoming Spellblade for free. Create a rune chant. It's just 3 with Go Again coming at you.
Yeah, I'm not blocking that. What's up, Brendan? Good morning, Stephen and Zach from Australia. Love it. Just caught up with your marathon stream and interview with James White. Excellent content. Keep it up. Thank you, Brendan. We will do so.
Are we sure this is Brendan Champion and not
I could be
Brendan Undercover?
Wolfpack update. How's Brendan doing? Is Brendan going to win the Pro Tour? Or
No.
What's your
maybe
50-50? What do you think? If you were betting, what would the percentometer be on Brendan winning the Pro Tour? In wherever, New Jersey.
I think there's going to be a lot of really good players there.
Mm-hmm.
I think even if we could decide the best player in the world, could find that person 100%, their odds might be 5 to 10%.
Right. Is it Michael?
I think Michael is arguably one of the best players in the United States.
Tarek's obviously good.
Yeah. And then the rest of us. I mean, Michael's the #1 ranked player in the world, so surely he's good. But you know, I've been around sports my whole life, and the #1 seed almost never wins. Now they do sometimes. Mm-hmm. Go Kansas Jayhawks.
But Michael's kind of like the Tony. Wait, who's the quarterback that has never lost? Basically.
Oh well, Tom Brady. But if he does lose, he's like he's been in half the Super Bowls he could have possibly been in.
Yeah.
And then he's won like half of those or more.
Yeah.
I'm
taking 3. Did I take 3? I'm taking 3.
I'll tell you what, Michael Hamilton, exceptional player. But if Starvo rotates out, so he won a Colin with Oldhim and then a Colin with Starvo, who's like a better Oldhim.
So his kryptonite is exciting matchups.
Maybe.
The moment he's got to play something that isn't just...
He can grind games
grindy,
out. Yeah. But if Star of the Show rotates, I would be excited to see him on whatever deck he would be on, because if Viserai doesn't change, he's really good into Oldhim. Mm-hmm. And that would be a challenge for a player of that caliber I would love to see.
Yeah, I mean, Hamilton's probably watching today just sweating with how uncomfortable it is to not block.
Anyways, yeah, that's why he's uncomfortable.
Yeah, he's like,
just like, they're not blocking. What are they doing? You took 3.
I did it.
That was fun.
You got him. You got it.
All right.
Maybe Bolton's ability should have been. Yeah, I like this.
Revel in Runeblade.
Norian. What if Bolton is errated to say if you charge a card as part of its cost, it has to go again? We can just get rid of Take Flight. And that makes Raiden way better, doesn't it?
Makes a lot of cards way better.
Yeah.
Create 5
resolve pass instance.
Yeah.
This may be my favorite stream we've ever done.
Yeah?
I don't know. It's just funny. It's just some good energy. We had a really, I feel like, good conversation up front.
Very mature.
I didn't want to play into my character too much.
E-Strike for 7, 6 for a chance pop.
What card are you putting under?
Can't tell you.
You're going in with a 4-carder?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. 7 and 6 makes what, 13?
Yeah.
Well, there's 12. And one more makes 13. No ruin chance. 4-card hand. Going into my V turn? Oh my gosh. Game's over already. Let's do a rewind. Via the Vanguard coming at you.
You gonna charge or anything?
We're charging twice. We're gonna charge another Via the Vanguard. And a Yellow Express.
Coming in for 5.
Coming in for 5. That's right. Damage. Haven't seen Illumina yet.
I haven't seen one. No block. I'll take 5.
Take 5. I'm gonna give it go again.
I'm trying to sneak that in. Like, I'll take the damage and you didn't give it go again.
I'm
just kidding.
susceptible to it.
Oh, man.
Snatch for 5. Let's put you in the same situation. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. So I have a better moment here.
To block.
Yeah. For a lot of reasons. One, I have armor. The previous one, I used the 2 armor to try to block
The Lumina. Yeah.
the Lumina. Anyways, Grasp, and I also have a non-attack. The blocks for 3.
Non-attack 3 is
Last
good.
time I only had Mavreen in hand.
Yeah.
So that's really helpful to get to 5 without having to...
I'm sorry, that's coming in for 6.
Oh, hold on.
I did it the wrong way. See, I'm not trying to...
You've already now gotten information.
It's a little bit of a bamboozle, but I don't know.
Ooh-wee.
Maybe it's 6.
Come on.
Last time it was a 1 charger, now it's a 2 charger. I can't keep up
fine.
really. Yeah.
We'll go 3, 6.
Okay.
Make you use the card if you want it.
Let's give it a go again. Engulfing coming at you for 5.
If it hits, goes to soul.
That's right.
No block.
Give it go again. It will go to soul. Last known information, etc. Raiden coming at you for 5.
Yeah, I'll take 5.
You're right. See, that was not as bad. I feel like that first block. If you don't block the snatch, I get beacon,
Who knows what that becomes?
and then that becomes another snatch, and then
yeah.
it's the turn is unlocked.
Yeah,
so block the turn.
I'll tell you this, man. This deck is not far off.
That's right.
You're in the. You're.
I like to be close enough.
Hey, it's a good spot to be in. My man. All right, mine. We're gonna go Sonata. Paying 2.
Ghost Sonata.
Go Sonata. Uh oh. Hits for 1.
I've seen worse.
Yeah.
I hope you didn't need that blue. I hope you needed dads.
I didn't need the blue. No.
Good. Good. Yes. This is what we need.
All right, we're gonna play fair. Pay 2. Create a rune chant with my gloves.
You're gonna swing that sword.
We're gonna swing a sword. 1 arcane. 2 physical.
You made it out alive. I'll take 5. Tunic up on my turn. Okay. It's about question marks, isn't it? I don't get another turn here. I know enough to know that. I know that Skeleton's probably going to block for 2 because nobody's going to run Shatter. I know that I have to do at least 16 damage to even consider winning this game. Accurate or not accurate? I took too many. You didn't have the second arcane on that? You had the little weenie sword?
Yeah.
Can you do 15 to me with 5 cards? As we explained in the chat, if you can't do that, then you need to stop playing Flesh and Blood.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right, dude, let's crack the stubbies then. If we can.
Come on.
We gotta use them, Let's go Bolt of Courage for 4. Charging a Bolting Blade.
Block 4.
We got a Beacon.
Guy Rooney, you guys ship to Australia? We do. It can be expensive though. Shipping got really restrictive to Australia.
All right, we're gonna resolve Beacon, and then we're gonna give it go again. I'm gonna put it over here. Okay, I'm gonna do it on
+1.
Yeah, +1. So I'm gonna draw a card after this too. So don't sleep on that. So I get any card I want. Wow.
Man, it said take any rug in the house.
You know, the smart money usually says Lumina is right here. Lumina is kind of the thing that's going to annoy you to the point that I might be happy with the level of annoyance. I will get a card here. But we have to be careful of soul things.
Running out of juice.
Yeah, man.
And then like a turn 5, I got no gas in the tank.
I think my options are Lumina, Yellow Illuminate. We can do a red Bolt as well. Try to keep the pain train coming. I think that's really kind of what we're looking at here. These are probably our options. All right, so let's look at some outcomes here, since this is a very sophisticated stream now. I do have this one card in hand. So here, if we do Lumina, we swing Raiden. Skeleton goes back to the chain. You're not going to use it, though. You got 3 cards to block with. We swing Lumina in at 4. That's probably, I mean, if you wanted to, card from hand, armor. We swing Lumina again, have no soul left. Card from hand, creepers, if you wanted to. You go in with 2 cards. I have no soul.
Important that I do have 2 armor.
Yeah.
2 ones that aren't the creepers.
This one is not currently on, is it? Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
so like
yeah,
if I have a
being lower.
If I have a non-attack blocks for 3,
okay,
then.
So like right here, if I go Lumina, I think I get 2 cards and 2 blocks, but with Skeleton still online, like it's actually conceivable. You'd have a build turn probably, and then I have one more crack at it, maybe. If I had Tunic coming online, I would consider that. I'm reluctant to just drain soul in that way right now.
I don't think that's wrong.
Not to drain?
Yeah, like looking at it, I probably block out.
Yeah.
And like then I block out and you're out of soul, which is a way better position for me than the present incarnation.
I could go Illuminate. 4 if it hits goes to soul. You're kind of, most players maybe block this card. Card from hand, 1 armor. Kind of similar to really the same math on Lumina. This is just signals to you that you're scared a little bit. So it's kind of a
Stubby
tell.
hammers only affect attack action.
That's right. Yeah, so this goes to 4. Bolt here, I think, is the same. I think you block that also.
Yeah.
Probably. You just shut the turn down, right? So other things we could do is we could get like an engulfing and just charge this card in my hand. and come at you for 4, another soul. Then we swing a Raiden for 3. But if you just take that, the game is over. So it might be that Lumina is the best call here. And then I go in with Arsenal. Acceptable, I suppose. Bolting, unfortunately, I would need to pitch for. It would only be 2. Only be 2. And I can't get bolting because it's a 4 cost. So it's probably Lumina still. I think it at least forces the block, gives me a shot. I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. Valiant Thrust is no good because then you got to pitch. So this card then has to turn into, it's 2 for 7, not good. If this was a yellow, I would say maybe Valiant Thrust Sharp Eye is acceptable, but it is not.
Bolt is also interesting because don't forget to shuffle the cards you're not picking.
Right. I'm just thinking, this is my thinking shuffle.
Yeah. Bolt at 4. I'm obviously inclined to block it, but you have 1 card in hand, so like, can you fool them into overblocking it?
Mm-hmm. And if you have all attacks in your hand, that's a 2-card block or 2 armor. Mm-hmm. There's still shenanigans to be done. And I am going to draw. That's important. Why it's right. I'm going to draw 1. So I will have Sharp Eye online no matter what. That's relevant. That actually makes me like Lumina more. Let's see, Bolt. And then we can give another slap at Helm. Woo, but then Soul, we gotta tin the Soul.
Gotta keep yourself right.
Yeah. We gotta tin the Soul. Okay, so this is actually an absolutely fascinating situation here. All right, so if we do block, or if we do draw, let's say we go, we can do it. The Valiant Thrust drawing a yellow would be sick. That would be quite good. What do you think?
What's in hand?
A red card that does 4 and nothing else.
Okay. I was gonna say if you had another cheeky bite to charge, then the 0 for 7 is kind of interesting.
It would be super interesting if I could give it go again. Now I could.
Does this card go into hand?
Yeah, the card I'm about to draw. Yeah, goes in the hand.
Because you could.
I can't get bolting because I've only 1 on beacon means 1 cost or less.
For sure.
It does depend on what's on top. Helm is going to be relevant.
I don't know, man. That's why we play.
This is probably a reason. I mean, it's a really fascinating. Now, you could get another option here is you could get. You could live or die by the draw. So you get red engulfing here. Play engulfing, charge here. No matter what, give it go again. Whatever card comes up on top, we could also hit Raiden. We could trade out that card for Helm as well. I think looking at it right now, depending on the card that I draw, if we go Lumina here, I'm holding 2 cards. Swing in for 4.
Give it go again.
It's just not, with Stubby's active, I think you could go harder is if you have like 1 more soul.
Mm-hmm.
You just need 1 more soul. I think I'm gonna pass on Lumina and do something like a Bolt. Bolt threatens the drop, probably gets the block out, and it gives me another charge. That keeps the chain going.
Yeah.
Let's go there, and then let's see what other options we get. Because again, we really have to do 13, I think, plus your armor. or this is not going to work.
Gonna do 16.
Yeah. Okay, let's get bolt, and then let's see what we draw. Okay, draw. Okay. Wicked. Okay, so you took one. Let's do another bolt and charge here on the express.
All right, coming in for 4.
4 damage. If it hits, I draw a card.
2, 3, 4.
Okay. Coming out on the go again. Let's do Engulfing Light for 4.
Just gonna get these out of the way. All right, this is not usable yet. Engulfing for 4 with hits go into soul.
Good draw for me, yeah.
Go again, raiding. So you got 8 coming. If I do that, you're out of soul. Block 6.
Okay. Great question here. 3 damage, but no soul. Is it worth it? I don't know if it is, man. It's hard to say. I think my best out here is a charge into... Oh, no. Kind of out of go again options here. That's not how this is supposed to work.
Take flight.
I do have some take flights in there.
You could hit a V too, right? B would... No, you have to pitch for it though, so then it gets funky.
Yeah, V gets a little weird, but it is possible. All the 1 costs have to charge to get go again. I think I'm gonna opt out of the 3.
I feel like 0 soul just gives you so many bad.
Yeah, it's real bad. You draw a charge card, and we have there's a decent amount of buffs in here. So,
all right, I'll pass.
Over to you. Yeah,
Free tunic.
I feel like I missed that tunic on that last turn too. You get that one for free. I don't need it. Yeah, the Bolton problem is here.
We back.
So what we have to do here. What kind of army you got left? You got 2 over there. We're going to do Engulfing, yellow, charge here, coming at you for 2.
Intriguing.
It really kind of falls apart once you...
Once the boat stops?
Yeah, once the boat stops. Once you get these equipment out, it's supposed to have won by now.
Interestingly, we're going to block for 2.
All right, so I've got a... I think my option here is to pop Helm and try to hit a reaction on top. And we did it. We did it. So I will play Beacon and then give go again as well.
Look at the helm, the deliverer of souls.
And then this goes into soul.
Yeah, so you 1 for Beacon, 1 to give it go again, then you get to go get something.
Yeah, go get something.
I'm going to go ahead and destroy these. I like it.
All right, so now we're in the same situation. All right. And this is where Lumina gets interesting. Swing 4, go again, swing 4. You got no armor, so one of them hits, you give me the hand again, right? Let's do that. James saying that helm hasn't missed. It is the helm with the sharp eye. So, you know. It's right there on the card.
Right there on the card.
Lumina, ridden for 4.
All right. We'll block 5 with non-attacks.
Give it a go again. Yeah, it's interesting because could you just, you know, if I'm threatening an 8, let's say, could you just take it and take a 5 card into this? 15?
Possibly.
Anyway, swing it again for 4.
But like if it hits, you gain a life and get a soul back. And then if it hits, who knows what you've got.
Yeah.
So like, I don't think I can risk. I also know that if you're out of soul and I just don't take damage.
You're starting to figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same problem with Doriaxis.
So I'm back in Bolton mode, you know?
Yeah, you just remember, like, just let them
come
fail.
in for 4, I'll block for 6.
All right. You got it.
It's like, okay, the gas is... Once you run out of gas, I'm going to have the gas. I'll pass back to you. You get your free tunic.
That's right. Here comes that big V turn again. Let me see how many V's I even have in here before I look. How excited I should get. 1 V there. This is probably where the red take flight is going to look really good for me. There's another V.
Curating Humanism.
Speak of the devil.
The podcast on YouTube would make my life easier, but I listen either way. Appreciate the honesty.
V.
Yep. It's the risk.
Double charge.
Here he goes. It's coming in for how many?
Coming in for 5.
No hit effect. Oh. It's not the one to block.
Probably not.
No block.
All right. Give it a go again. Take 5. Let's go snatch for 5. Yellow.
Block 6.
Got it. Give it a go again. Let's go illuminate for 6. Hits goes to soul.
Yeah. I'll block 6. One's an attack.
Take 1. Goes to soul.
You got it. Now don't draw V again.
I don't have the tunic even.
Yeah, that's good. Back over to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. I can feel the perfection oozing off of you.
Oh.
Illuminate for 3.
Yellow illuminate for 3.
Cool. Well.
We were close. Close to right.
Your pumps are charge dependent.
That's right. Unless I'm running that cheeky razor reflex.
You can pump with the lose a soul card.
You can.
But then you don't have the soul.
It won't gain anything, but like I can't go get something, but Trimmer, yeah, Wyatt. It wasn't better than any of the slots that are already in it. Unfortunately, it's also a 1 cost, right?
Oh, and you haven't charged this turn.
I'm a charged man. No, as much as I would love to have charged, I have not because 27 is the wrong number. I guess.
You love it.
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I guess this is it.
You block with anything you want.
I mean, I guess possibly you have something like a razor.
You can look through my discard pile if you like.
But I mean, it's so possible you haven't seen it yet, right?
The real play is lunging press. That's the juice.
Yeah, because he didn't give it go again.
Yeah, that's
something else.
One of my faves if you're on a blue curve.
Yeah, but you could do that either way.
Just let it hit. 5 cards, can you do 15? Fast blocks?
With 5 cards?
With no arcane barrier?
Yeah.
That's what I do. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but that is what I would do.
I'll risk it. No block.
All right, you got it. Arsenal here.
I don't know what I'd do in a tournament, honestly. That's the weird part. Like, could I just...
You probably just keep blocking, honestly.
I mean, I don't know. At some point, if I just can take a turn where I'm not blocking and just go back the other direction, it's, like, obviously good for me.
But what now?
Oh, E-Strike. Choose go again.
5 to go again?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get another chance to block here. I'm just over here thinking, like, I have to be aware of, like, how many cards you got over there? 2? Like a, double revel.
So if it's 2 revel, I'd have to be able to have a... The first one wouldn't do anything because you have to have played a non-attack to get its ability. So technically, revel, the first doesn't do it. I'd have to have a non-attack revel, but then I couldn't swing with anything.
So just E-Strike with go again. What's the worst thing you can do with 3 cards, right? So you got like Mauve. How much arcane damage can you generate with 3 cards?
Mordred Tide.
Mordred.
Usually what starts. Well, so if it was Mordred Tide, Revel, create 7 rune chance, swing the sword. 9 arcane, 2 physical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's see. What else could I do? I could Mordred. Like, if I did Mordred and then I played, like, let's say it was Mordred, pitch 1 floating Rattlebones, create 2, get a Gloom Veil, play the Gloom Veil for 4, create 2 more rune chance. Still have the sword swing, so it's 4 rune chance, 4 from the sword, 4 from Gloom Veil, technically. Under that line.
Any on hits that would make a difference here? Like meet and greet, I guess. It would be 1 more.
Yeah. I mean, so like if it was like...
How many meet and greets you got over here? Can I touch your cards?
Mm-hmm. The problem with meet and greet would be it wouldn't have go again unless I did arcane first.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I Mordred meet and greet, there's no rune chance yet.
Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of interesting. So I've got a soul shield here.
It's a good time to do it.
You think so? I mean, the thing is, like, I don't...
The only thing I do that has 6 attack is going to be Amplify the Arcanite.
And I could... the thing I'm looking at is I could hold it to charge it if you don't do enough damage as a charge card. So, like, it wouldn't be dead unless it became my last card, and that would be really bad. So I think we probably do it now. I'll do Soul Shield on that.
Okay. I don't hate it.
Pitch the 2 block, so it's equivalent, basically.
Mordred.
It was Mordred.
Revel. Create 7 earth chance.
You bastard.
Oh, man. I think this is right. So we'll do amplify. So 7 pop. 2 get created, but they'll blow up. So 7 and 6. It's not lethal.
How much is it?
13. He's got the beats. I put that Revel in a long time ago.
Boy, I mean, we're playing Flesh and Blood now, man.
Yeah. Once you get them on actually having to block it,
This is fantastic.
it's the real deal.
Because like thinking here is I can block here to go to 3, which means you can't just swing the sword and win the game, which is relevant. Now the chances of you being able to generate 1 rune chant and then swing the sword, astronomical.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just pay for it right here. that one.
So on the off chance that you have to block a bunch of stuff, and then my tunic can get to 3 and open a door for me to play a card I otherwise couldn't.
I mean, the question is, off of the cards you have left, how many cards are you getting out of my hand?
Yeah, great question. I've got to do 3 like a number of times. Not enough.
Because if to swing the sword, this is kind of the Runeblade thing, right? So I'd have to have a non-attack, an attack that has go again. If it's free, that's one thing, but there's only so many of those going around. So probably not free, so I probably have to pitch. And then I have to have the resource to swing the sword, but this has to have go again. So I block with 1 card. I still have the option.
Yeah, so you got to block with 2. Yeah.
I cannot swing the sword effectively.
Yeah, this is important for a Beating Runeblade series.
Yeah.
Sure, let's take it all. We'll see if the tunic comes into play here.
Man on the run.
Well, maybe you only have attacks.
Sometimes.
Yellow Express, charge here.
Oh, that's a beacon in Arsenal. It's real bad.
Yeah, the old bacon. Well, I think you may have seen them all.
For old...
I've played a lot of them. 2 at least. Yeah, 1 floating.
Yeah, well, you got to risk it for the biscuit. 2 arcane. That's all I need to do.
That's where I think you block with tunic and stay at 3. I think that's right.
Block 3, non-attack.
I do have a +3 punt.
He did.
Boom.
Look at that. Beat him twice in a row.
That's all you need. I mean, we've obviously shown how to beat Viserai. Therefore,
The video has been achieved.
don't touch Sonata.
I definitely had the kill.
Yeah.
But
Dude, if you block,
I need 3 cards, right?
If you block 2 there, how bad is your hand?
If I block 2, I probably just...
It stays in.
Spellblade Assault. Create 2 rune chants. 4 coming at you.
So, yeah. You do 4. So I block with 3. And then I come in with Take Flight 4.
At that point, I have 2 rune chants, so I just need to swing.
Yeah.
So then I have a 3 card.
So then you as long as you don't have to, yeah. Yeah, Gore.
Yeah. So
That's
technically,
interesting, yeah.
I'd have that to block out with.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a fascinating little game,
I'm
man.
telling you. So, notes on my side. I had there was one turn where I took a healthy hit because I had Sonata paying a blue, and I hit 1, and it was a blue attack when I really needed it to be anything.
An actual attack.
Yeah. In high. That was the turn I just created a enchant and swung a sword.
Yeah.
But the maximum number,
want
like
those,
the
yeah.
max moment on that turn would have been, because I think I had rune chance, so I could have played like my free attacks with go again, and then swing the sword, and then it ended up not being it. But yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's not as far off as people think it is.
This was that. So when you had that bad hand, right? And I'm coming back trying to do what I just did, basically. This was the hand given. This deck was giving me great hands today, though. But I was like, okay, great. If either of these two charge here, like it's like game over.
Yeah.
You're sitting there on 3 health. It's like, oh. Instead it's Illuminate for 3 Arsenal Courageous.
Yeah.
It's like,
but it's kind of funny because like it's exactly what we said up front, right? So your stubbies, all your equipment, even the helm, and the snaps are all giving you like they're boosting a single turn.
Yeah.
To like a different level.
Yeah.
And your tunic, if you can get to turn 6, is 2 of your 6 turns. If stubbies is 1, if snaps is another, and helm is another, that's 5 of your turns that are modified.
Yeah.
And then your deck is actually built to penalize me not blocking you.
That's the idea.
Strictly. And if you don't have disabling hit effects, you're gonna have card draw.
Yeah.
So Bolt of Courage, Snatch, and then on your V turns and with your pumps, you can kind of extend out. But that's also where I was saying this weekend that Plunder Run going away, I'm not even 100% sure it would make its way into this. But I know that if you also had Plunder Run on those turns, where the next attack that hits is drawing you a card on top of the card.
Yeah, it's really good. And it gives you that go again.
Yeah, it really lets people that don't have a lot of in-class hit effects that they need to extend the turns or to disable or whatever, get those effects.
I guess so. Yeah. So here's the question. We'll pull up to the folks here. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Do you think effectively the case that you can make on the Plunder Run side at least is that the current fastest decks, which this is probably fastest, Chain is somewhere in the inevitable fastness. Do you think that those decks don't run Plunder Run if it comes back?
I mean, Chain probably does. Briar Might probably does.
Is the second follow-up, is the percentage gained by Plunder Run on the fastness of those decks equal to or less than the percentage gained on somebody like Bolton or Levia or Dash or, any of these kinds of...
Yeah. I mean, I think the old school Briar build probably gains the most.
Yeah.
Because the extra 9 attack sometimes gives you go again, and also every card is usually playable.
Yeah, and you have Force of Nature, Plunder Run.
Yeah. So some decks like Levia, right? Like an extra card may not be usable after the hit. That was the problem. Like Bravo didn't run it because Plunder Run, big attack, that's cool and all, but at the same time, that card a lot of times didn't do anything for you. You can't play it on this turn, so at most you're getting like an arsenal that you wouldn't have gotten.
Yeah.
Still valuable. But I'm
just thinking if the proportional gain from all of the kind of tier 2 contenders is actually way higher than the tier 1 contenders, I think it could help close the speed gap a little bit.
Yeah.
For Bolton is like the example of that. But then you just kind of have another deck up there that's just wheeling and dealing on turn 3 and 4. So like, is that awesome?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Access or something into this could actually maybe grind this to a stop. It has a stopping point for sure.
I also think another thing on note, and this is just one, the advantage of Dark Horse. So if you're on a deck that people aren't playing a lot against, then even here I was in every game changing tactics to see
figuring out what.
Right?
Yeah.
So I wasn't blocking the first game, which I won.
Yeah.
But then I wasn't blocking still the second game, and you actually had a turn that me not blocking destroyed me. And I think this turn I was trying to block more, and you were not doing anything. But there's still a lot of like, there's probably a moment when I was at like 12 to 15 when I could have just taken the turn.
Yeah.
And then come back at you full handed before not getting Valletta Skeleton is just wrong.
Yeah.
So the advantage though being that no matter how much people are practicing, are they practicing against every deck? And are they practicing against weird versions of that deck? Where in a tournament, if you presented this to me and this moment happened, it's like, I don't know what I actually do, especially if I haven't been playing against Bolton. That's one of the advantages of playing these kind of underclassed heroes.
Yeah.
Or underrepresented classes.
Because practice is really important. Like that's the secret tech of anybody who's doing well at events is like practice.
Weird.
It's great. It's very important to do that. And yeah, if you're not familiar with the matchup, you lose big percentage points, even if you should win the game naturally.
Yeah, I fell in that trap a lot against Azalea early on, where it's just like, at some point, you're like, if you just blocked me, I wouldn't win.
Yeah.
Like, let's try it. Let's start blocking everything. It's like, wait a second.
And then Flesh and Blood arose.
Yeah.
And then it became,
But no, I think it's super cool. I was saying this about Bolton previously. Like, I don't think seems like a better version of the deck you built that was just slapping.
Yeah.
And it's the question mark is if we played this 20 times, what would the percentage end up being? I don't know what the answer is. It's currently 66% in favor.
I think it'd be more 20-80 or 30-70. And like to me, that's fine. Like I would take this deck to a tournament and do maybe win the whole thing. Likely do like okay.
But if you ever won the whole thing, you would feel great about it.
Incredible. Yeah. 30%, 15 times in a row. Let's go. Yeah.
And the other half of that coin too, beyond experience and just knowing how to play your deck into a certain matchup. This is a different kind of build. So even if I am used to playing Bolton like Sabres, this is a different scenario.
Yeah.
Like you flip Radiant, I think I would rather have Vexing Quill Hand. Even the armor is great against you, but the extra gas that you create from the 2 on-demand rune chance is actually pretty powerful. And then the what was the other thing I was going to say? The going first and second is also hyper relevant.
Sure. You may have a 30% chance going first. And you have a 95% chance going first.
I think it was game 2. You made me block with a Become the Arc Knight and a Mordred, but I also had 2 Sonatas in hand. So the potential start was Mordred Sonata. If I hit an attack, Become the Arc Knight, get 2 more rune chance to go get Red, Read the Runes, play Red, Read the Runes, put Sonata in Arsenal. And I would have 2, 4... I would have 10 rune chance on turn 1 with the Sonata in Arsenal.
Not winning that game.
So then you attack and I block with Skeleton.
And then it's like
Skeleton and like from the top row.
No.
But that's why I drew it and I was like, this is actually like a really fascinatingly good opening hand. And then you
I did the 2 for 7 or the 4 for 7.
Yeah, and I almost just took it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, I could still do this in Sonata and Arsenal, which may have been the right call.
It might be right.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing we could test over and over and over and just see.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Van, great games. What's the stream schedule for the rest of the week and next? Well, I'm glad you asked. If Bryce 1.0 is still in the chat, then we can pull up the full schedule for the week. And there it is. Unstoppable value on Bryce 1.0. Wednesday, we've got Soulforge Fusion. So watch out for that. That's going to be a great time.
That's tomorrow.
It's really tomorrow.
Look
Wednesday, also known as tomorrow. We're just going to be taking the decks that we've already opened and that we've gotten early, and we're going to be playing with them again. We might combine some different combinations, look at some different things we could put together. On Thursday, we got Ashes Reborn, finishing up the Introducing Ashes Reborn series. Zach and I will be playing over webcam on this very stream. It's going to be exciting. And we may even get on Ash Techie as well, so we'll show how to play online. This could be a really good intro too for anyone who wants to play webcam for anything, whether it's Flesh and Blood or otherwise. It's just going to be us showing what it's actually like to play over webcam. And that might mean that we have technical difficulties and it all goes away. But that's kind of the thing that happens sometimes. Come back in next Monday on Marvel Champions Sinister Motives. So that's going to be a great time. Continue that campaign. We got Flesh and Blood coming in on Tuesday, of course. Well, we're getting close to the Pro Tour, aren't we? Mm-hmm. You are.
This weekend's a big weekend. Calling Taiwan.
If Starvo doesn't win Calling Taiwan, the whole world changes.
Yeah. You assume nothing's changing, but if you assume nothing's changing, I don't know, it's a wild world.
Yeah, what happens? Because, like, I would be terrified of this in a Starvo. I mean, you get Soul Shield's shunt, but, like, you have to have a turn uninterruptedly great, and Starvo's really good at not.
At interrupting?
Like, one Frostbite from that hammer is like,
yeah,
I can't play my V now.
Yeah.
Bummer. No stream on Wednesday, and then Lord of the Rings TCG.
We back.
We're coming back in.
Block 2.
Complete the, what are we? We're starting with
2 towers.
2 towers.
Yeah.
So we will have some more. I gotta say, I got that 1988 Dragonlance board game. That's gonna make it into that Thursday slot at some point as well.
Looks awesome. Couple quick reminders. June 4th is our Pro Tour happening in Tulsa. You can sign up for that on the website. Also, the Fab History #1 is listed, available for pre-order for a short amount of time. We have very few of those boxes that we're going to be able to get. If you want that, now is the time to hop in on that. And major shout out to all of our subscribers. We do have spots in our Fab Booster Box subscription if you want to guarantee that you get boxes on release or as close to release as possible with an exclusive promo.
I can safely say I think they will be shipped the earliest of any online retailer by far. I think the exclusive promo that you get with every booster box is going to have enough value to probably make that a positive exchange as compared to buying even at like MAP. And you're supporting, Tuesday streams, Fab, and all of this kind of stuff going on, which we hope adds a ton of value. We've been doing this for a couple of years, and subscribers are the lifeblood of everything we're doing. We're talking about product subscribers. We love our YouTube subscribers too. You guys are great. But the ones giving us actual money really mean a lot. They really mean a lot.
Yeah.
So seriously. Thank you to everybody who's been doing that, and we can't wait to see what Uprising has coming. And whether or not these boxes sell out early in like their release, like Uprising comes out, does it sell out on release weekend? We've seen that happen with games before. How are they gonna manage it? Is it gonna be a ton of boxes up front? Is it gonna be waves? Are they gonna, reprint? I have no idea how they're gonna handle it. So
yeah, it'll be exciting.
We know how
to
many
see
we're getting though.
One way or another. Thank you all for being with us. Hi Tim, he's saying yo fam as we're getting out of here. And good luck beating some Runeblades if you're playing any events in the next couple of weeks. And